Welcome back to... Which show are we doing? Oh, the Humanities episode. I think this one's 25, you know?
Yeah, let's say that. I think 25 is about
right. A quarter of a century. How is your cup with a bag and some milk, and do you have a sugar?
Don't. Oh, I'm sweet enough.
Paddy, that's a terrible way to start the show. This could be somebody's first show.
I know. I don't like to give people expectations.
This is like as bad as before we came on. I was watching an episode of The Flash with Captain Cold in it, and there were so many sort of puns towards the start, like, yes, this could be cool, or treating him coldly, or turn up the heat, and I was like, oh Christ! I mean, you kind of expect a little bit of that sort of stuff.
I didn't know you were watching Batman and Robin.
It was the weird thing was I watched the pilot to The Flash yonks ago and really enjoyed it, and the episodes that I've seen thus far aren't very good.
Okay.
But you know, it's turned up on American Netflix, and I was going to buy the box set. So thanks for saving me £25.
Thing is, I don't have time to keep up with that kind of show
alternative
anymore.
DNS settings.
Yeah, I don't have time to keep up with that kind of show anymore. Like, you know, your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., your Flash, your Green Arrows, the Gotham. You know, who has fucking time? I don't have time.
Yeah, but that's horseshit, mate. I'm sorry.
I don't have time.
Like good TV shows are good TV shows. With Arrow, I really enjoyed Arrow. It took a little while to get going, but I went through 2 series of that, like fairly quickly, like munch, went through them. So a good telly show, I've no problem with, really. It's just I don't know. You know, sometimes you just kick something on while you're having your dinner or you're having your breakfast and stuff, and it's there to kind of entertain while you're munching through the episodes while you're munching through your dinner,
sipping on some tea juice. That
was never. So yeah, going back to you and your bag of tea, I have a very slow brewed cup of coffee because I set one on this morning before I got ready and stuff, just on a low heat rather than sort of a high heat that I normally go with, and it was a beautiful cup of coffee. So I have it in my brand new National Video Game Arcade mug.
Hey, hang on. So just to clarify, because I'm just to be sure, that cup of coffee hasn't been brewing since this morning, has it?
No, okay. That one hasn't.
That was unclear. But,
okay. No. The National Video Game Arcade mug, because I'll go into Game City stuff in the episode after this, because I'm midway through it at the moment. It's been awesome. But this mug was like a really reasonable price, and it's got like a bit of silicone at the bottom. So when you put it on the desk, that was me putting it on the desk. There's no like thunk or anything like that. It sort of cushions it. But I bought.
So for contrast, you know.
Okay.
That was my mighty cup of tea with nothing on the bottom. So that was good. It was muted. Right. I didn't even think you'd done it.
This is a hefty mug of coffee, right?
Do it.
I've done it.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Well, it's silent. Is it cushioned on air?
Let me put.
Is there a pillow under
the mic a bit close. The mic is now close to the desk, right?
Okay.
Here we go.
It sounds like you're doing it in another room.
It's awesome. So when I looked at that, I was like, oh, they've got mugs. That's really cool. Oh, that red bit at the bottom, it's not just painted on. Ooh, technology.
The thing is, the irony now is I'm going to try and put my cup down further away from the microphone to be quiet, but it's going to sound louder. Like, I know it is.
Well, when I was there, I looked at the merch, and the merch was like really reasonably priced. And I do love Game City and the National Video Arcade, so I was like, I'm gonna chuck you some money. So I bought a bag, 2 different sizes of notebook, a pen, a key ring, and a mug for about £30. Oh, and a wallet as well.
That's not bad.
All that stuff for 30 quid's pretty good.
Yeah, it just worked out in my head. Yeah, that's actually quite good.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So plus it goes towards the upkeep and the continuation of something that I think is really important. So. But I'll go into all about Game City next time. So, yeah. Do you want to start off this time? Because you mentioned that you've been playing some stuff.
I have been playing some stuff. Before we do, though, I'm just going to plug this, because I think we might not have actually plugged this yet. about a week or so ago, I got to go on the Dark Insight podcast, hosted by listeners Death Note and Vader Van Odin, who, if you've been listening to us, you'll be familiar with by now. And we got to do a Metal Gear 5 super spoiler cast, and literally everything was on the table. It was an experience. I actually realised things as we were talking that I hadn't worked out, and was actually blowing my own mind during the show. So if you finish Metal Gear 5 and you're looking for a deep discussion on the spoilers, you get on that. At Dark Insight at Dark Insight Podcast on Twitter, something like that. I'll have linked it, you'll see it. But it's 3 hours. It's not short, but I promise you, it will fly by.
Outstanding.
Because I got to the end and I felt like we'd missed loads, and it's like, there's so much still to talk about. But the sun's coming up.
Was that in the aftermath, or was that when kind of the show had finished and you were just like, oh, but I haven't done that?
No, that was literally as we pressed stop and looked at the notes and thought, we've missed loads. Like, Vader did some show notes. We're thinking, we didn't talk about that, we didn't talk about that, we didn't talk about that, but fuck. And it was cool. It was 3 dense hours as well. Dense. But yeah, it's about hour and a half, 2 hours in where shit starts getting really real. I think I haven't listened to it back yet, but I know I had some revelations about the plot which didn't make sense to me until the show, and now I might be... It's up there now. It is up there. I was initially quite meh, but it's up there now in terms of, like, Kojima's a genius. He's a genius.
Okay.
So yeah, I've played some other games since we last spoke. Carrying on the tradition of having a quick go with some PlayStation Plus games to kind of bang through them. The first game I will tell you about is a game called Unmechanical, which was on this month's Plus or last month's Plus. I can't remember which now.
Okay.
It's a game, I think it's by the guys who made Machinarium. That sort of adventure gamey thing starring the cool little robot man. And you start another cool little robot thing that can fly about and solve physics puzzles. Now, I wanted to like this one. I really, really wanted to like it because I was enjoying it. I started up and I'm doing the puzzles, and the puzzles are making me feel quite clever, and they're sort of physicsy, and you're kind of putting stuff in places. The way you do with physics puzzles, you put a thing in a place and a door opens. And I'm sort of starting to kind of get an intrigue as to what's going on, and it's like there's not really any plot at all. Like, you're just kind of floating around a world. There's no words, there's no... You're just looking at the place. And sort of halfway through the game, I mean, sort of not really spoilers because you work this out quite quick. You kind of, it feels like you're in a side of a big monster or a big robot, because you pass through areas that, like, there's like a giant beating heart at one point with different bits kind of plugging into it, and you have to kind of bring things back to it. It just kind of feels like you're going through an organism, rather than a factory. It's like it's an organism.
Is this PS4, PS3,
PS4,
Vita, all three?
At least. I believe there might be a PS3 version as well. I'm not sure about Vita. But almost certainly, it's definitely PS4. That's what I played it on. I think PS3 as well. And I know it's one of those indie ones that's always in humble bundles. So keep your eye out for that. But the problem is, so I'm enjoying it and I'm playing it. And I'm thinking, right, I'm going to do this puzzle. I've played it a couple of hours. I'm thinking, oh, this is getting good. I'm getting intrigued. I want to know where this is going. And it ended. And it just stops. Okay. It literally just stops. You kind of find a place. You go up and it just ends. And it's like I didn't feel any resolution whatsoever. I just kind of felt like, oh, is that it?
Now, PlayStation Plus does have a bit of a thing for including DLC to follow the game. Mm-hmm. Do you think that maybe a part's been chopped out of it, or do you think that there's something more to come? Or?
I can answer that as well. It's the extended edition of Unmechanical, so there's actually a bonus chapter chucked in with it as well, which is completely separate to the game, which is you trying to rescue another little robot. But again, it doesn't feel connected in any way at all. And I played through it, and I got to the end, I was like, I don't feel anything of that either. I didn't feel angry, I didn't feel happy, I didn't feel anything. I just got to the end kind of empty and sort of soulless, like a robot. It just kind of felt like it was going to go somewhere, and then it didn't.
Well, you said that you mentioned that there was no plot. Did you think that a plot was going to sort of insert itself, or that things were going to ramp up and suddenly you were going to have, I don't know, it might not have even been plot based, just something where things start to sort of intensify.
Yeah, it's just like
push to your own conclusions.
So here's the plot. Here's the plot, right? Okay, you're a little robot flying about. You get sort of bonked into a hole. You fall through the hole. You wake up. You fly through a factory. You meet a couple other little robots buzzing about. You unplug some stuff. And then there's two endings. You can either fly out of the place and you don't see what's on the outside, or you can go into a machine and become one of the janitors of that place. And like that's it. That's it. And it felt like there was more coming. Okay. It felt like we're just on the cusp. Like you go into a machine, into one of these rooms, and there's a robot sitting there, kind of looking at a whole lot of monitors. You know, all the monitors have got different stuff on, and then you turn them off back to them, and your job is to kind of get them back on again before the next bit will open up. You do it. You think, oh, cool. What's going to happen now? And nothing happens. Nothing happens. You keep expecting like. It feels like the impression I got playing it is that you're inside of like a monster rather than being in a factory. It's like you're inside of something like a huge mountain machine. It's like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get to see, the place from the outside, or if something's going to happen, it's going to reinforce that. It just isn't. It just stops. It's. I don't want to say it's like the budget ran out because that's a stupid thing to say, and stupid people say that. But I don't know. It kind of feels like half the game's missing. It doesn't even feel like it was getting near an ending. It kind of just feels like it drops off at the end of the first act of 3. It's really weird.
In the same way that Grow Home was the test for a physics engine. Do you think this was maybe an idea that didn't quite come off, and they threw themselves into something else afterwards, and that this is a gesture for PlayStation Plus? Or because I'm looking on PlayStation blog now, it describes it as set in a fantastic world of flesh, rock and steel. Unmechanical follows a lone robot trapped in an underground complex. A handsome adventure game that combines tricky puzzle solving, alluring exploration and engrossing atmosphere. It's easy to pick up and play, but the challenges will truly test your logic, memory and wits.
Oh, we don't know about memory. I don't even know about wits either, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but it's staying on your mind for reasons of like,
but not the right reasons. What? Not the right reasons. It's staying on mind for the wrong reasons. It just kind of, I wanted to like it because the atmosphere is good. It's like, it's really kind of creepy, and like the same way Machinarium was really sort of enthralling and interesting. Like there's all these little kind of other robots in that game that kind of infused with little personality, and this has got nothing. It's got, like, the atmosphere is good. Like, you're going through tunnels and the kind of, there's kind of conks and the music's quite good, and the little kind of flashes of robot you get every now and again are kind of cool, but they just kind of appear for 5 seconds and fuck off. Like, and that's it. It frustrated me. I got to the end, I thought, was that it? I'm trying to think of an analogy, and I can't think of one. Imagine if Destiny ended before you got to Rasputin. It just stopped. It's like, is that it? Like that's. It didn't even feel like you got anywhere of any consequence. It just stops. So yeah, Sorry, I wanted to like it, but
I think I know what your second game is, because it was a game that I rather fancied on the Wii U quite some time ago.
Right,
but it never quite hit a price where I was comfortable throwing money at it. And then it was announced for other stuff, and I kind of forgot about it a bit, and then it turned up on PlayStation Plus, and I think that the next game you're going to mention is Teslagrad.
Shit, I did play that, didn't I? It wasn't the game I was going to talk about, but I have played about half an hour of that. Do you know what? Let's do that now. Screw it. Let's do that now. Okay.
Okay, we'll put your other game a bit further down the line, so if anybody's enticed by this bullshit, they can look forward to that in a bit.
Remember, this could be someone's first episode.
Yeah, well, maybe they're like, I was going to switch off after those puns, but they're honest, they'll stick around.
They know what they are. There's no illusions here.
Yeah, they know what they are. They know no one's listening. They'll be pleased than I am.
You can't polish a turd. Right, Teslagrad. Okay.
That was underhanded.
Have you played any of it?
What, Teslagrad? Yeah. No. Like I say, it was one of those where I remember it came out on the PC originally, and I noticed it when it came out on the Wii U because the reviews said that there was stuff with the Wii U's gamepad, I think, that worked really well with it. And I loved the art style. I thought the art style was fantastic, and it looked a little bit Portal-like.
Sort of.
Within the way that the weapons work. But I didn't get any further than that, and as I mentioned before, I tend not to play PlayStation Plus games. I just never get around to it.
Okay, well, how about... So, I would say Portal's a close approximation of what it's like, but I would say it's probably more like a game called Outland. A
I remember.
side-on game where you could kind of switch the colour of yourself to kind of like, so red bullets don't hurt you or blue bullets, like Ikaruga in the same vein. Like you can switch yourself back and forward to make yourself either strong or weak to certain things. This has a similar sort of thing, but it's more like polarity. Magnetic polarity is what you're using because the whole Tesla thing, you're playing with electric fields and stuff like that. So essentially you can punch a thing, and if it's blue and the thing next to it is red, if you punch it and make it red, the reds will repel and it will fly away. So you're basically playing with magnetism to solve your puzzles. And a lot of this is in, sort of essentially punching a door, like you're punching a switch, essentially, to kind of make yourself puzzles and tasks. I mean, like I say, I've only played half an hour so far. But, like, it's really well put together. Like, the puzzles so far have made me feel clever when I've done them. And when you get to it, you feel skillful when you beat it. Like, yes, I fucking beat you level.
Is this in the same sort of way that you mentioned, was it the swapper? You really kind of quite like the puzzles in that, if I remember right.
But I have the similar worry that I had with the swapper. I worry it's going to get to a point where it's going to become, my brain isn't going to be able to work it out, and I'm going to go, Because the swapper I enjoyed to a point, and I got to a point with the swapper where I just couldn't get my head around the puzzles anymore. Like, they were just too fiddly.
Although I do hear that the swapper's got one hell of an ending, mate.
Yeah, but
like, seriously,
I'm going to have to cheat to get there, and if I'm going to do that, I might as well just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, maybe there's just the odd puzzle that you need to kind of get a kick on with, and then take the next one as it comes.
I don't know. There've been about 5 of them so far.
Oh,
you look at it, you think, I can't. Who put this together? Whose brain is this that can do this? And it's hard. Like, it's not easy. It's very, very tricky, very fiddly, very trial and error. And I kind of just didn't really get on with it. And the plot completely doesn't relate to the story at all, from what I can tell. It's just completely a whole other thing on the side that doesn't relate in any way to what you're doing. But like I say, Swapper wanted to like it, didn't like it. So I liked half of it, and then I got stuck. Back to Teslagrad. So the game starts with you're like a small boy who gets dumped off at a house to be looked after, and then a few years, some time passes, and some red-coated Russian men come to get you, and you have to kind of escape over some sort of rooftops and kind of running away from these Russian red guys, and you end up sort of stuck in almost like a church of some sort, where some sort of like magnetic science stuff has been going on. Lots of kind of stained glass windows on the back with kind of like murals with tutorials on that don't necessarily say they're tutorials, which is kind of cool. Kind of just shows you a picture of a guy punching a thing and then it going red and flying away. Like, oh, okay, I think that's how that works then. But yeah, so far, like, the plot has not really been there very much yet. I've only literally done the first level, but the main crux of the game, there appears to be like a big like magnetic lift that pushes you up. And at the minute, I've only gone a short way up, which still feels quite far. But I've looked at the map, and the thing goes up about 10 times further than I've got so far. So the way the game seems to be playing is you are going through, opening up kind of new portals and opening doors up this shaft. So that when you get in from the bottom, you can fly all the way to the top and get out, which is kind of cool. And the next level you've got to go because it's the next highest place you can reach, which is kind of fun. It's kind of neat. Yeah, I haven't really digged far enough into it to really get to the bones of it yet, and I don't know if it's going to get to a point where it's going to get too hard and I'm going to give up. But from what I've played so far, it's quite enjoyable. It's another. Forgive me if I'm disingenuous. It's another fucking indie platformer. How many more of them do we need? But it's got a nice twist. Like, it's interesting, and I think the plot is going to go somewhere as well. Like, it seems to be related to what you're doing. And it has a plot, which it's got over on Mechanical. There appears to be a plot in there. So, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
I've changed my mind. I want that third game now.
Okay. Sorry, listeners who were excited to wait and get it later. I've spoiled your afternoon.
No, those people that were like, "Oh, that's a terrible pun," and then that have gone, "Oh, they're quite honest." They were like, "Oh, I never know what to expect."
This is a mile a minute.
So we've got puns, honesty.
Yeah.
I'm writing this down. Unpredictability. That's a bit too.
That's a bit long of a word.
That's quite long. I know. And then I draw a triangle around that, and then I turn the triangle into 3 triangles. It's the Triforce.
Illuminati confirmed.
It's Triforce. Yeah, I'm drawing an eye in the middle now.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
It's staring at me, Paddy. I'm gonna have to. Just remove that piece of paper. Hashtag Foley.
Album art confirmed. I played another game.
Right, go on.
I played another game. Again, PlayStation Plus. It's been out for a long time. I kickstarted this a long time ago, and I got it on PC, and I barely touched it. I kind of enjoyed it, but I don't really play PC games in the same way that I play games on my console. I just don't. Maybe it's because I've not got a very comfy chair. Maybe I don't get on with the mouse and keyboard as much. I just don't find myself glued to them as much, so I will give things up quite quickly on the PC. On the PS4 arrived Broken Age, the Double Fine Kickstarter game. You sound like you had
Please
something.
continue.
Okay.
I am just adding this to the list of stuff that yeah, just turning it into a hexagon. No, I'm just adding this to the list. So yeah, I'm going to interject then, seeing as you've opened the door for me. Broken Age is something that I heard Sean Bell from Midnight Resistance talking up sort of quite a bit, and. When it arrived on PlayStation 4, I bought it opening day.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know. And then played it for an hour and haven't gone back. Didn't hate it, but I wouldn't say was totally grabbed by it either. Loved the art style. Flat out adored the art style, but I don't know. Just
okay, so yeah, the art style. First, okay, well, let's talk about the art for a minute. Like this, it is pretty. Like I have played.
Lovely, innit?
I would say I'm guessing half of it at this point. I think I'm at halfway. It is a pretty game, and that continues. Every place you go to is full of charm. It's full of character. Everything's animated really, really nicely. Like I would watch a cartoon in this style any day of the week. Gorgeous.
It very much looks like it, doesn't it?
It's like a painting that has come to life.
Child's pastel drawing type.
Big, thick lines. All the characters, you know, they've really. You can get a sense for who they are just by looking at them, and you go talk to them, and they're exactly as you think they would be.
Gorgeous voice acting as well.
Stunning.
I know the criticism kicked in from the Kickstarter. Top of the triangle. That you know they'd spent a lot of money bringing in your Hollywood peeps, but
no, it's worth it.
That lad from the Lord.
It's worth it.
The likes of that lad from the Lord of the Rings plays a blinder.
Yeah, you've got the other ones I recognise. Who did I recognise? Jack Black's in there, and you don't realise it's him for a little bit, and it's like, hang on, that's Jack Black. Hey, and he actually does a really again, it's a good performance. Like this, they're clearly bro friends, him and Tim Schafer. But I'll take that because you know I thought Brutal Legend was great.
Didn't that lad from Lord of the Rings? Didn't your wife have a shrine to him at some point?
Oh my god, yeah. Listeners, new listeners. I'm really sorry to put my wife on blast here, but yeah, when we first started going out at uni, she had like a wall of pictures of stuff, and quite a lot of it was Lord of the Ringsy. You know, Elijah Wood. There was a giant Legolas on the wall as well, and we're talking like a wall of pictures cut out of magazines and that. It's a bit creepy.
That Legolas from Lord of the Rings or a lass made of Lego?
Both.
Sorry, so this is a terrible joke. What a shit show. Carry on.
I think shit show summarizes quite well. Anyway, ignoring the shrine to Frodo, what are we talking about? Fucking hell. Broken Age. Dear God. Right. So yeah, voice acting really, really good. Characters exactly how you think they'd be when you talk to them. So there's two very distinct halves to it when you play. There's the part starring Vela, who's the girl on the left when you start the game, and there's the half starring Shay, who's the boy in the spaceship on the right hand side when you start the game. I'm going to guess that you started the right hand side.
You are wrong because I started with the young lady.
Okay, and let me just say, I can't talk about this too much without ruining why it's brilliant, but it gets dark really quick. In a charming sort of way. It's like happily really dark. Like the sort of things you think, this is cool, and then you kind of think, hang on a minute, this is really bad. Bad things are happening and no one seems to care. What's going on?
If you've got something that looks that innocent and that childlike and that brilliant, but you've got that level of darkness and depth underneath it, that's what classic fables used to do before they became Disney-fied and stuff.
Yeah. So Okay, well, we can talk about the first thing that happens in the girls' half. Then, essentially, you are a maiden who has been chosen to go meet Mog Chothra. Okay, Mog Chothra being the big kind of a big monster, and essentially, you are dressing yourself up to look like a big cake, so that Mog Chothra will eat you and leave the village alone for a year. Like, when you think about it, it's like they're sacrificing their young, and everyone's okay with it, and all the girls want to do it except for Vela, the main character. Like, they all are like, no, I want him to notice me. I'm a bun. I want him to look at me. Like, I'm a drink. He's gonna drink me. Ooh, yeah.
Frankly, working at resale and in any school holidays, I could think of years worth of children to stuff in cakes to offer up to anything that would take them out of the way. But yeah, please continue.
So yeah, you've got that half of the game, and it's her escaping and trying to work out what's going on. And then you've got the other half of the game, which is starring Shay, a young lad who's on a spaceship that is flying around in space, and you're kind of going on these missions, but they're not really like important missions. You kind of go to a candy planet, and there's been an ice cream avalanche, and all the yarn people are stuck under the ice cream avalanche. It's like, oh no, what will you do? And you pull out your spoon and you start eating through the ice cream, and they're all like, yay, our hero, you saved us. And there's like 4 or 5 of these missions that are equally as kind of like pointless, like clearly set up, clearly you can't fail. And kind of, again, it's like there's a sort of hidden darkness behind it. You think, what's really going on here? And then it sort of starts to pull the curtain away, and you start to see behind the curtain a little bit and find out what's really going on. Initially, when you start the game, you've got the 2 halves that look very, very different. Like, they do look like 2 different games when you look at them. They are linked, but not in the way you think they are. And to say anything else would give away why it's brilliant. Because I sat on my sofa, like, jaw open, like, but what? Huh? What?
Did you play it on your own, or was Laura kind of watching and
in and out,
watching along with you?
She was in and out. She missed the big reveals, and I had to go outside and tell her about them. And I had to explain it, and she just looked at me with a blank face. I'm like, I know, it doesn't make sense, but it does. Like, in that kind of triple backwards way, you try and explain things that have made your brain stop working. Like trying to explain a Metal Gear plot. Like, it's like that. Like, so that happened, and then this is that. But actually, that was that. And that was inside of that the whole time, and that. And it's like, woohoo? When? But yeah, I kind of don't want to talk about it too much, because to kind of talk about why it's good would spoil it. But I've hit what I believe is the halfway point now. And it's kind of been all swapsies and all change. And what I thought was happening on one bit wasn't, and what I thought was happening on the other bit is happening on the first bit. And it's proper good. And I think even as far as those adventure game tropes go, where you rub everything on everything until everything works, I don't think you have to do that in the Monkey Island sense. I think a lot of the puzzles, like, you look at what you've got, you look at what's in front of you, and they're quite easy to kind of to suss out, and you're not sitting there going, like, it's not the goat puzzle from Broken Sword, for instance. Like, it's clever, like clever puzzles, but you feel clever. Again, you feel clever when you work it out, but it doesn't like spoon feed you per se. You are working things out cleverly. Like, there's a tree in the game, a tree who's going like, he's got eyes and a nose, and he's kind of, the tree's clearly shouting at you. So you take your saw and you kind of cut him a mouth, and he immediately starts calling you a monster. And the tree gets upset with you and thinks about how he saw the woodsman down the road cut down another tree, and how it nearly made him barf sap all over the place. And then a bit later, so I'm sitting on the sofa, and this is when I knew I was playing something brilliant. I turned to Laura and I said, so I need to work out how to make this tree be sick. And you sort of sit back and think, did I say that out loud? I said that out loud. Okay.
I know that there's I don't know if you saw them at the time, given that you backed Kickstarter, but Kickstarter folks got a series of, they got a video documentary as part of it. And I know, again, that Sean Bell was really talking up how good this documentary is. I've seen the first part of it and really enjoyed it.
To my great shame, I do have access to it, but I've just never watched it.
It's on YouTube now, so it's another one of those that will probably plug in quite nicely to when you're having a a bit of cereal and stuff in the morning. But
job done.
Yeah.
Next challenge. I'm going to beat the game first, then watch them. I think I'm interested. But it's really really good, and it's funny and it's witty and it's charming, and there's so much going on. Like it's great. It's great. Every single set piece is memorable, and there is something fun in every single bit. There's no bit you're like, oh, I've just got to rub everything on this room just to see what moves it on. Like there's something happening all the time. And it's proper good storytelling. Like really really enjoyable. So yeah, Broken Age. It's actually pretty good after initial bouncings off on the PC. All I had to do was put it on my PlayStation because I am a Sony whore.
You truly are, in the best way.
Thanks.
My Sony whore friend. I have been continuing my journey into the world of Tokusatsu.
Okay.
As mentioned in the last show, Tokusatsu being, if for our listener whose episode this is their debut, Tokusatsu is described as live action with special effects. Firstly, I saw this fabulous guide to Tokusatsu on Geek Crash Course, which is a YouTube channel which sadly finished making videos last year. And there's a playlist there detailing everything about Tokusatsu, not just covering the likes of Kamen Rider and Ultraman that we mentioned previously, but diving into all manner of really cool, brilliant stuff, some sort of quite obscure, but also it's got a really amazing rundown on the Super Sentai series, which is still going, but Super Sentai, it goes from the Japanese series leading all the way up to Power Rangers as well, and going through like every iteration, every team, even like the financial stuff that happens with like Disney buying it and then selling it back to Saban. But it goes through all that sort of stuff. Really, really amazing. Really nice presenters as well, but lots for me to note down and go, oh God, that looks good. There's some sort of intergalactic Sheriff Gaben or something like that, which is this metallic 70s robot sci-fi sheriff thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm watching that.
All I can think about is Gabe Newell from Steam.
You're wrong.
He's a robot cowboy, but that's a nice image.
Think more like the Cylons from the original Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
But yeah, it was going through like all the different variations of that from year dot to now, and how there are, even when there's not particular series going, that the characters will get special appearances and other stuff. And yeah, it was really neat. Very, very worth watching. In my own investigations, I found one Kamen Rider movie, which was a few years old, but connected to a series that I'd not seen. And it was all about this kid that moved from Tokyo out into a more serene Japan, and him struggling to live with his grandmother, as well as the ire of the local school children who saw him as an outsider that was looking down on them because everything in Tokyo is better. Turned out his mum had given him this special artifact that was one half of an amulet that could destroy the world, and evil villains came to steal it. But this also meant that heroes arrived through time to battle them, and they arrived in this massive train, which then launched into different realities via this sort of roller coaster track that like snaked off into the sky and like broke into the heavens. Like a really amazing visual. And I was watching it, I was like, this is really cool. I'm loving this. And then the worst plot twist kicks in. Like the villains come to take the amulet and take this train and believe that they're breaking into time, that they're going into the future, and there's all these sort of marvels as they come through the night into Tokyo and stuff. But the train's not moving. The heroes erect big sheets over the train with paintings on of the future, and someone is sitting in front of the train, drawing at high speed and flickering the bits of paper at the front of the train to give the illusion of movement.
What the actual dick? Sounds like something out of Wile E. fucking Coyote.
It was just, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And yeah, I know that, you know, these things are aimed at an audience that isn't me. But yeah, I was like, nah, this is going off. But so I'm fully aware that after the sheer amount of joy that I'd had with the early stuff, that there can be misfires. I put on a series called Kamen Rider Drive. Now, Kamen Rider Drive in Japan followed Kamen Rider Gaim that I mentioned last time, the one with all the fruit.
Okay, that's the fruit one. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, the fruit one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this one, it's a familiar journey. This time for a cop that had lost his impetus or drive.
Right.
Right, they do make that joke, so it's not
me
just interjecting like another pun. And these villains that were acting as vampires on the locals, they slowed down time so people couldn't run away.
Right.
But they moved through it perfectly themselves and sort of drained people of life. The lead character is called Shinosuke Tomore, and much like the other Kamen Riders, he gets a special belt. Bless you.
That was Laura.
What was that?
That was Laura.
That was like you were sniped.
No, that was Laura. She went achoo, and then excuse me. Okay.
Or it sounded like someone was firing very small rodents through through a long tube with high air pressure into a big pile of gravel.
Right.
I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
The Foley's off on this one.
Okay. Right. So I mentioned Shinosuke Tomura. He gets the special belt, which transforms him into Kamen Rider Drive, and there are all these kind of different cars that you can call from, which tiny toy cars which race along a magical scale electric track.
Of course.
That moves through the air.
Of course.
Right?
Why would I even? Of course it is.
And if Kamen Rider, all of these cars have different abilities. And if he calls a car to him, he can then slot it in his belt to get whatever ability comes from this car, or the toy car itself like bends in half, and the spoiler on the back can be grabbed and used to rev up, and it boosts Kamen Rider's power, and he does like these sort of amazing moves. It's not the best of the series of the different series that I've seen thus far, but it is fun. The color scheme's lovely. It's mainly kind of a real world bleached effect with like really brilliant reds and greens. The lead character's fantastic. There's some great moments. Fight at the end of episode 1 wasn't brilliant, and the look of the rider, who essentially amidst your sort of standard kind of Kamen Rider suit, has this big tyre going from his right shoulder to his left hip bone.
I've literally just loaded that up on Google to have a look. It looks like he's tried to jump through it and got stuck.
And basically the different cars give him a different tyre, and he can then fire those off at enemies and stuff.
Bloody hell.
So it lets the look down a little bit.
It's like a bone wheel skeleton from Dark Souls if it was in Destiny.
I still like the way they do these things. Plus, he has an actually amazing car that he drives as well.
I hope so.
Like a proper super like massive car that's almost like the equivalent of a Knight Rider or the Batmobile from the 70s.
Okay. Does it look like it's going to turn into a robot at any point?
Does it look like it's going to turn into what?
Into a robot.
No, it just looks like sleek as fuck. It looks like it's something out of like G-Force or like Battle of the Planets type stuff.
Okay.
It's really cool. It doesn't exactly look like a car. It looks like something someone would have drawn for a cartoon, and the fact that they've made that in the real is really cool. But like I say, the reason that I watched that first episode of Kamen Rider Drive was purely for the synopsis of a movie that I clicked onto, which is kind of this Elseworlds alternate reality tale. Sadly, it wasn't the brilliantly titled Kamen Rider times Kamen Rider Drive and Gaim Movie War Full Throttle, which I will be watching.
Right.
But it follows on apparently from the end of Kamen Rider Gaim, so it's no point in me watching that yet. But it was Superhero Tyson GP Kamen Rider 3.
Right.
I'm going to take a drink. That cup's
it was
still
so quiet.
It's so quiet. It says. Right, so Superhero Tyson GP Kamen Rider 3, right? I read this synopsis and I was like, yeah, that's been watched. So it's a world where the bad guys have won.
Okay.
Where someone called Kamen Rider 3, who was originally created for and only appearing in a one-shot comic in 1972, Kamen Rider 3 travels back in time and kills Kamen Riders 1 and 2 in the 70s. Our hero's part of a group that hunts down Kamen Riders, but knows something is wrong. So it is the lad from Kamen Rider Drive, right?
Okay.
So, this group that's like the sort of police science team in the regular one, they hunt down Kamen Riders, and he's just he knows in his mind that something's not quite right. And in this one, the point that I stopped watching, and for good reasons this time, were purely because I needed to watch it with my mate Pete because I knew he'd flip out. And it was the point where Shinosuke is called to an event where a group of kids were willingly being indoctrinated to become cyborgs.
Right.
And all of this is very, very Nazi Germany, mind you, in like the costumes and everything. Really quite disturbing.
Okay.
Right? And someone turns up to stop this happening. And the person that turns up is Kamen Rider Black, the actual bloke from the 80s TV series.
What?
I lost my shit. Absolutely lost my shit. Like, there was this big kerfuffle, and it went over in the corner, and you were like, you saw these jaw-dropped faces, and it just went like, Henshin! I was like, it's actually the same bloke. And he transforms into Kamen Rider Black. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And seeing Black battle the bad guys, Drive knows, again, that something's definitely quite wrong and can't put his finger on it. He knows something is wrong. And while there's a predictability to the hero's journey here, what was on show was just loads of fun and so much fan service. So very classic comic book in a way that comics just don't do anymore. And like I say, I'm going to be watching that one in full on Sunday with Pete. But as I understand it, there's a few more Kamen Riders from years gone by that are in it, and I'm sorry, I'm up for that. Like,
you're done,
crossovers and alternate reality stuff.
This is the only thing you're going to watch forever now, isn't it?
Mate, the fact that there is like what they've been going since like the 1960s and 70s, the majority of these, and that I knew I got a sort of full plate with all of the Ultraman since 1960s, the Kamen Riders since the 1970s, but now knowing that there's the Super Sentai stuff and all the variants that were shown on the that YouTube channel that I mentioned earlier, which was Geek Crash Course, I have a lot to go at, and I also realised that I quite like to watch the Godzilla films, all of them, and over here, the only ones that are available are the original, the new one. I think Final Wars is available on DVD, and the American one, like the previous American one, with Crawley Godzilla. So yeah, there's just a lot to go on. So wow. Yeah, I'm hook, line, and sinker on this. I'm absolutely loving it.
It sounds brilliant. It sounds so mentally weird. Like, but in a joyful way. Yeah.
I mean, in the last show, I showed you some of those, like the startup of Kamen Rider Gaim, the startup of Kamen Rider Kiva, the transformation sequence from Kamen Rider Gaim. Did I show you the Kamen Rider Black one as well? The opening sequence.
Don't think you did. I'll tell you what I've just found while I was searching Google. Okay. Because I like to look at the pictures of these things while you talk about them. A bit later down, there's a picture of Kamen Rider Drive with the tyre on his chest, but then there's an orange, and he splits apart, and the orange kind of becomes the tyre, and he gets the orange sword from Gaim, and like, I don't know if I want that toy more or less than regular orange. Like,
you see you know how I mentioned Kamen Rider times Kamen Rider Drive and Gaim movie War Full Throttle? That's
what I figured.
Apparently, there's the movie split into three different parts. There's one which follows the lead character from Kamen Rider Gaim and continues on from the end of that show. There's the middle bit, which is the guy from Kamen Rider Drive, and it's his kind of battle. Mm-hmm. And the final bit is them both teaming up against the enemy, which gives me shivers just to think about it, because I love that stuff when I was a kid, seeing like the Human Torch and Spider-Man fight Mysterio or any of that kind of stuff. And I can imagine those three different acts and just really loving them. But also, given that movie came out after Drive had started and after Gaim had finished, it's kind of this really nice transitional piece between the two series, and having those heroes in the same film as well,
gives you a nice
which
little
I
link.
kind of dig.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool.
Yeah, and there's been a few bits like that are just sort of really doing it for me. What was the one that was on Geek Crash Course, and it was the one that I alluded to in the last episode, with all the different Ultramans sort of standing there in this massive fortress that had come over Tokyo or wherever it was, and one of them steps forward and the theme music to their particular show starts, and they start battling the enemy and the others fly off to go to the next enemy. That is called Mega Monster Battle Ultra Galaxy.
Of course.
Yep. That one downloaded today, so I'm going to be all over that like it's made of ham. So
rad.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. What's next on the talk agenda?
Right. Well, I'm going to again, like last time, I'm going to continue the Tokusatsu theme into Attack of the Friday Monsters because I finished it yesterday.
I thought you'd already beat it.
No, I mean when I originally had it, I played it on a bus journey up to my dad's, and got a decent way into it, but I didn't finish it. I loved it for everything it was, but I didn't finish it. And then when we were doing the last episode, I'd picked it up and started playing it again, and had found myself just as smitten. But yeah, yesterday I sat in the Toast Bar at Game City, literally fighting back tears as I made my way towards the end of it. Utterly beautiful, like so emotional, inventive. It was balancing sort of childhood imagination with the real world, and a few really unusual left of centre plot twists sort of kicked in to keep me guessing. The ending was gorgeous. One of those moments, like BioShock 2, which is one of the most beautiful endings in all my time gaming. It's just the ending of Attack of the Friday Monsters is one that I'll never forget. And the last line in particular was so literate, so moving, that it just continued to resonate afterwards. And when I walked back through Nottingham to get the bus home, I was biting down on my bottom lip whenever I felt my chest surge, my eyes well up, and the instinct was to just cry. I'd say that's in my top 10 ever now. Wow. I think it's a masterpiece, and I mean afterwards I put Attack of the Friday Monsters has to be one of the most breathtaking endings I've ever seen in games. That last line, tears. So I put that on Twitter, and today I got that retweeted by Kazayabe, who made the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I sort of I messaged out, because I looked at this retweet and then like a Japanese account and put his name into Google. I was like, oh my god, it's the guy that made it. And I sort of sent a little message sort of saying thank you, basically. And he sent me one back saying like, arigato, thanks for playing.
Oh man,
I was like, that's ace. Plus when I was playing in the Toast Bar, and there were all these moments where I was like, yeah, I'll take a picture of that and I chuck it out on Twitter. As I threw out screenshots, a few folks commented on it, of not only being curious after our previous chats, but one, Baron Spookton, who's at Furry Fruit on Twitter, mentioned he picked it up because of us talking about it.
Oh, nice.
And he said, oh man, I played it earlier this year on your recommendation and forgot to tell you how amazing it is. I'd never have heard of it otherwise, which is awesome. because that game deserves to be played, and I still think it's my favourite game on 3DS.
Ooh.
And like I say, after that, part of me's looking for similar experiences. So the things you said about Broken Age continue to intrigue, and something that I'd like to lose myself in. Plus, I've had Life is Strange for the last 6 weeks maybe, and haven't gone near it yet. And I think the final part that's just come out, and it's gone down rather nicely.
I want to get on that as well. Like, I need to get on that Life is Strange, because I kind of want to play the Telltale Walking Dead, not Walking Dead, Game of Thrones one first, because I'm all about that Game of Thrones.
The first part of it's free now.
I heard that, but I looked on the PlayStation Store earlier, and it was still a price. But then again, the PlayStation Store is all over the fucking shop at the minute.
Don't know. I do have the Games with Gold gave away the first season of The Walking Dead on Xbox One this month, so I've got that to play as well. But I fancy Life is Strange. There's something that seems, and I remember at the time people played the first episode and just said like, the dialogue seems a bit off, but there's something quite intriguing here. And then from episode 2 onwards, folks were on their trampolines about it. And I like the look. I don't know. There's something about it that I find really intriguing, even beyond the way that folks have spoken about it. So that's one that I fancy getting. Starting playing for the next episode, actually, I must admit.
Oh, okay. I'll say I've not picked it up yet, but I'm meaning to. I might get it around Christmas time. I don't know. It feels like the sort of thing I'd play at Christmas with Laura. And just sort of watch and talk and make the decisions between us.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's a good one to couch play with someone. And I think probably the reason that I've not played it is that I quite fancy doing that with someone. So
interesting.
You, sir.
Yeah.
I've picked up The Witcher 3.
Yes, I did. And I believe you, sir, have picked up The Witcher 3.
Yes, because it dropped in price at UK retail this week, knocking around at about $22.99.
That's what I got it for.
Yeah.
Which is mental,
I
really.
got it for less. Yeah, I got it for less because I know somebody that works there.
I know somebody that works in game. My dad works for Nintendo. Fucking.
Yeah, just saying.
To be fair, I am well jealous because, like, when Laura used to work in game, right? She got her job at game.
Yeah, she did.
She got her job in game, and I swear to God, the first thing I said was, "I'm so happy for me."
You see, now I'm just seeing the catalyst for your entire relationship is extra discount.
That's what it was. I got Rock Band,
but then
whole Rock Band kit for slightly less than an entire mortgage.
But then again, I can offer that same friend extra discount on coffee-based items, and to the degree that they do have a running line of credit with me.
How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Well, like this
fucking
is
Illuminati up in here
in the video game industry. Yeah. I think the credit currently they are in credit by about £22.50 before I asked them for more money. So there we go. Illuminati confirmed.
There you go. That's a free copy of The Witcher 3 sorted.
Yeah. Oh my God! Right, so Witcher 3. Yeah. I've not had that much time to play about with it yet.
Okay.
Not just because of an 18 gigabyte install.
Isn't it big?
And then DLC.
Oh, right.
But I've only just gone past the opening sections with the little girl and into the main mission. But I really liked the stuff that I played. I thought it was very well written for a character that, judging from afar, I wasn't that keen on. I got a decent measure of who he was in that opening section, and the interactions with the little girl were lovely, like really, really wonderful.
She's his ward, and like you get a sense that they're sort of.
Is it Siri?
Siri, yeah. He's his kind of he looks after her, but they're also kind of friends as well. Like they're sort of banter. There's banter there. So I've played a bit further than you. I've got outside of the first area, White Orchard, which is really kind of like a microcosm of the game. I read this somewhere online. Like that area is a microcosm of the game in whole, because that first bit you start in is quite big, isn't it? White Orchard. It's a pretty big place, right? It ain't nothing. Ain't nothing. That place ain't nothing. It's kind of like a trial ground for you, to get used to the controls, get used to the quests, kind of get your feel for the game before you start the game proper. And I saw a thing saying try and explore everything you can before you advance the plot. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds pretty cool. And already this game has impressed me so much. Like,
but the nice thing that I've sort of gleaned from the people who are enthusiastic about the game is that it's not just piffle that's tagged on as side missions. That actually the side stuff is really engrossing.
Yep, it's engrossing. There's plots. There are like decisions you make, even at the very start. Like decisions you can make. You think, well, I'm gonna choose to rat out this guy that did something bad, and I'm gonna make him fess up for his crimes. And then kind of you go back to the town later, and there's been ramifications to what you've done, and you're like, oh, did I do the right thing? There was a discussion on.
Yeah. There was a discussion on GameSpot because Kevin Van Ord, who I used to trust sort of quite heavily when he was a reviewer, he's now sort of left games reviewing, but he gave it a 10, and he was talking about ramifications, and he says, I'm not spoiling it. He says, but there's one mission with a woman. You have to make a decision as to whether, I don't know, she pays for her crimes or whatever it is, and it seems like there's no good option, bad option. It seems to be like, what do you reckon? And he says that later on, like much later in the game, he was going through a section on a boat, and he saw something in the distance, and it wasn't where he was going, but he decided to veer towards it. And it was that woman had been chained up to a stake and left to die, and she'd clearly been like, I think she'd rotted away a little bit or eaten by animals or whatever it was. And he was like, there was no need for me to go down there, but the game was happy to put something, a ramification of something that I'd done in the world, confident of the fact that I may or may not go near it. That's amazing.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant, and there's lots of that about. Like, I found things not to that extent, but like just little things as you explore. Like, oh wait, is that what they were talking about there? Ooh, and like it's got that thing where it's got lots of like books you can read, like, but like they're all interesting. Like, there's something in all of them that's like cool and unique. Okay, so for example, there's a mission in the first area. You have to kill a well witch, a bog wizard, a she devil or something. Devil at the Well, that's what it's called, Devil at the Well. And I stumbled into the area for it by accident. I was just kind of wandering about, exploring, and sort of picking up every flower I could see, because who wouldn't? Kind of pottering about, and I kind of walk in, and this kind of ghost appears and starts hounding me, so I kind of batter about. I get out my silver sword, and oh, by the way, I love the fact that you have two swords and he pulls the right one out when he needs it. That's so fucking cool. And you sort of batter into it
because you had to select them in, I think, in Witcher 2.
I mean, I played Witcher 1 and that game was clunky. You had to choose it, and I did not get on with that at all. But like the combat here is really meaty. It's kind of clunky. It's, if you cock up, it's probably you did a thing that was wrong. But yeah, I kind of got her down to half health as she vanished, and he sort of Geralt's kind of like, she's gone. I guess I'll have a look around then. And you can kind of walk around and you can piece together the story of what's gone on. You have to kind of nip back out and chat to the person who, initially posted the bounty up, and do a bit of research, and kind of you kind of piece this thing together. And like by the time you actually come to fight the ghost again, it says it recommends to read the Bestiary entry, and it tells you like what works against it, why this works, that sort of thing. You're learning about it, and you're feeling like, I said this so many times today, you feel smart when you think, right, I'm going to put that there, I'm going to put this on my weapon, I'm going to chuck this at her, and if she does this, I'm going to do this. Like, you really have to think through what you're going to do.
Now, I just to interject as well, I from Kevin Van Ord's chat on the lobby, I think it was, on GameSpot, he recommended taking the difficulty up a notch.
Yep.
And on this, as I understand it, you don't automatically heal after after you've been hurt, I think you have to eat.
I think you can only eat the food. I think usually you regen health when you meditate, where you have a little sit down.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen like that. You have to eat. You have to stuff bread and water in your face.
How do you feel about that? And what do you think about the difficulty in these early portions?
Well, I've knocked it up the point, as was recommended by like 5 different places. Said that. Like, go on then. I had a moment of panic where I knocked it down again, where I was kind of butting against something and I couldn't do it, so I knocked it back down. But then, literally 20 minutes later, I realised I was kind of walking through it a bit. Like, I was kind of like knocking everything down without really trying. And I had all this kind of cool stuff that I wasn't using. You know, like the oils and the alchemy and the bombs and that sort of thing. If you knock it down to medium, you're not going to really need that sort of stuff. You can just dodge, move, attack with the sword and be done with it. So I've knocked it back up again. So, you know, I want to get like the real experience of it, you know. Because I'm going to pick up every flower in the world. I want it to be worth something, you know. Because I ain't leaving flowers. And I'm walking past things and Laura's going, pick it up. I went, what? Pick it up? What? Pick that flower up. Why? I need you to pick it up. And I turn around and walk away, and she looks at me, and you can see her tensing, and it's causing her physical pain that I'm leaving things. And then I went back to pick it up because I'm not mean. But like every fight I've had on Blood and Broken Bones difficulty, which is a brilliant name for a difficulty setting, Blood and Broken Bones, love it. Every fight I've had has had a moment where I've gone, ooh, this isn't going well. Oh dear, run. Like in that way, the best kind of moments of Souls games do, when you're pushing the limit of what you can do, and kind of I'm munching food, but it doesn't instantly apply it. It's kind of like a slow, gradual. You know, if you eat a bread, you have 5 seconds of health regen, so you have to keep munching the bread.
I liked it in those early moments where I was overrun by those sort of scampering dog things, and there were lots of them there, and you were sort of thinking, how can I lead one away from the pack? And they genuinely did seem to have sort of a mind of their own, up to the point where after I had gotten rid of them, I noticed there was sort of a nest of them down the hill, and rather than getting on my horse and sort of sodding off to where the game told me I should go, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and spoil those about a bit, and they messed me up. They properly messed me up, because there were more of them than I realised.
Well, what I've done, because I kind of bounced off something and lost. It felt like half an hour, but I believe it's 8 minutes is the autosave time on that. I've actually knocked that down. You can go in the settings and knock the autosave timer down a bit. Okay. Because like when you've done something quite difficult and then you lose it at the end and you've got to do the whole thing again, it's like, oh, come on. Especially where I'd picked up a shitload of herbs and I had to go pick them all up again and kind of make the thing I'd made before. It was a bit of a slog. So like I remember now to save quite often, and I set the autosave just a little bit quicker. I think I set it to 5 minutes. And that's been all right.
Appreciate that tip, actually, because there was a moment after you have that vision of what happens to Ciri. And you first get that kind of attack of the dog-like creatures. There were about 2 or 3 times that I messed that up, and even though I could skip through like the lines of dialogue, there was still like, oh, you put me here, where I had to go through that vision again. And I had to go through the questions. That was it.
And that's nothing worse than going through the dialogue option twice. Like, I know all of this. Yep. That's the bit I got stuck behind, a similar bit. Like, and
although I did see the other sides of the dialogue, because I tried a few different bits, and it wasn't just leading to the same stock answers from the NPC. It was there were different sort of conversations that ensued, and I thought there's a lot of work that's gone into this. A lot of work, and let's just say how beautiful it looks.
Honestly, the kind of game that makes you want to take your shirt off and run through the forest in it. Honestly,
and the fact that there's so much of that world as well is just bonkers.
It seems endless at times. Like I'm hitting the game proper now. Like I'm hitting the real game now. I'm out of the tutorial. Like, so imagine, if you will, that the area you're in at the minute, White Orchard, that's the undead asylum in Dark Souls.
Okay.
So you're nearly at the real game. It's a nice little microcosm of what the game is, with all the kind of choices. And do you know you can actually fail quests if you walk away from them and leave them too long?
Yeah, I was quite enticed by that, frankly.
Because I did that by accident for one and felt really bad about it. because I came back and the person who it was about was dead. It's like, oh
but
man.
You can see why people have sunk so much time into it and
Honestly.
and have so much affection for the game. I mean, they've given how many pieces of DLC free?
Oh, there's loads of it. I've downloaded specific bits of it so far. Like I was advised by Chris from Chomp Chain just to get like the outfits, the beard pack for sure, because I can go into that goddamn barber as soon as I goddamn can and playing with beards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the quest ones. He advised leave them for a bit, get them later. And same with the armors as well. It's like get them later. You don't really need them yet. Get them later. You don't need them right now. I've not really used any of it yet. Like I want to kind of experience it kind of clean for a while and then put the extra stuff on top. But that's so much content. Yeah. Let's just take a second here as well. The thing that pushed me over the edge was a bit of the price, but Chris's constant evangelizing of Witcher 3 on Chomp Chain.
Yeah, I agree.
Has definitely helped.
That was one of the things that pushed me to, because we'd spoken about doing it instead of as like a Christmas game, instead of going for Fallout 4.
Exactly.
That we'd get this, since it was dropping to a decent price. And that's when I saw that. I think midweek it had gone on game full price, like new, for 25 quid. And then there was a day when the pre-owned stuff dropped to $22.99. I was like, I was twisting your arm, and I honestly didn't know if you'd sort of give in to it, and I was really chuffed that you did, because it wasn't the sort of game, honestly, that I wanted to go through on my own. I quite like the thought of us battering through that as like, this happened to me and this happened to me, and it seemed like that sort of game from the stories I'd heard from other people, that it is quite a conversational game.
Oh god, yeah. Well, this happened to me, right? So I'm walking through, going to a point of interest on the map, looks cool, I'm walking around, I walk past this rock, get past the rock, it was a bear.
Okay.
It was a fuck off great bear. It stands up and it has a go. I actually squealed. I squealed. Like, oh no! Because it had been a while since I'd saved. I was like, no. Running around in tiny circles, throwing fire at it. And let's take a minute to appreciate the fact that every single one of your spells is useful. And you reach these kind of places of power in the game that will improve that. They'll give you an ability point, and they'll also improve one of your spells for about half an hour. So you get like half an hour of improved Igni. So your fire burst will be better for half an hour. And these stack as well. So if you go find another one quickly, it won't get rid of that. You'll have a better Igni and then a better Quen, which is the shield. So I had about 3 of these on at once, and I was it encouraged me to try out the different spells. And like they're all useful in combat. They're all
good. Yeah, I agree.
Like even the magic trap one, really useful against the ghost enemy.
I really like the magic trap anyway. I think it's the one that slows people down. But yeah, a lot of it's. I like as well that when you go into that menu, that it just slows things down to a crawl, because there's still that degree of panic when you go in. Which one am I going to choose? Like, even if you know which one you're going to choose, there's still that panic of kind of, they are coming closer. Am I going to have to roll out of the way before I kick this in?
Exactly, because Geralt is a Witcher, and he knows what he's going to do. So he's like, I'm going to choose Igni. Like he wouldn't have to sit there and think about it for 5 minutes. He'd know what he was after. But yeah, the combat, loving the combat. Like, I'm really getting into it now, and the fact that I've knocked it up to Blood and Broken Bones, like, it's not just hit, square, win. Like, you really have to think about your spacing, your movement. Like, one bad hit can take you out completely. Like, there's these enemies drowners that are like kind of little fishmen. They ripped me a new arsehole the first time I saw them, because they're so fast and they get on you. Yeah, they ripped me an arsehole. Like, I was not ready for them at all. And I was trying to be cool, like, I'll put Quen on and they won't be able to hit me. And they hit me once and it knocked off, and then the next one jumped on me, and then there were 4 of them, and then I was dead. Like,
but in that sense, does it feel? I'm guessing from what you're saying that it feels very much like a world that exists. That as much as you can apply fantasy and all that kind of stuff, there's something about the ecosystem and the creatures that live there, and the people in the towns, and the fact that your decisions do hold weight, that make it difficult to master, but really easy to lose yourself in. And that's a really nice dichotomy, I think.
Yeah, Yeah. Even the fact that some decisions don't seem to matter at the time, but then will matter later. Like, even early on in the game, I've had, like, seemingly pointless decisions that it gives you a timer. Like, okay, make your decision now. Like, this one, I guess? And none of them seem right. I mean, I know I put a tweet out on Twitter that I thought was quite funny, because Geralt's known as the White Wolf. He's more like the morally grey wolf.
Uh-huh.
There are no right answers, just ones that are less bad.
Well, you think?
You think maybe, but it might be worse later on, or like choices that you might not know are actually choices. Like, it's really good, and I kind of don't want to talk about the next kind of chunk of the game because there's a decision that I want to know what you did, and until you've moved out of White Orchard, I won't be able to ask you what you did. There is a decision I need to know what you did. I need to know if you're a baller ass OG or if you're or if you are a lamer.
A fighter or a hippie.
Yeah. For those of you who have played The Witcher 3, now this is not a spoiler, it's when you meet a character, you get a choice of what to do when you meet them. Very early on, you'll know what I mean. I know what I did, because I'm cool. I need to know what you'll do. But you'll be there soon. Trust me, you'll know.
Okay, intriguing.
You will know. But yeah, Witcher 3, like, I can see this joining the rotation of that, Destas, and friggin' Souls as being the only 3 goddamn things I'm going to play for the next 6 months. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much game there is in there. And I can see this is going to take over it's going to take over my life. I know.
And I will interject at this point that the episode after this, or the podcast after this, that we're going to be recording very, very quickly, is going to be a Twin Humanities. So we're going to cover the Dark Souls 3 beta. Last time we played a bit of Souls. We're going to play a little more Souls in the meantime with our co-op run, and cover the Bloodborne reveal for the DLC, which kicked in at Paris Games Week's PlayStation conference, Patrick.
What a seek that was.
What? Who saw that coming? Who?
When? Look at the spin. We'll have to give
Did
you
you,
a full
sir?
plate of breakfast. Oh.
Did you, sir?
I didn't see it. You,
Did
boy on
you,
the
sir?
street. What day is this? Why, today's podcast day, sir.
So
Good spin.
This happened last night, didn't it?
It did, yeah, and I was really happy because I was kind of concerned it was going to happen when I was at work, and yesterday I had a day off, so I got to sit on my sofa, veg out, and watch 2 hours of conference, which I always enjoy. Like, and I know you enjoy them as well, like, just to sit on your sofa and watch a company go, here's some stuff, enjoy it, love it. So yeah, do you want to jump straight in?
Yeah. So did you, because this is your homework, did you find a list of the games that were shown, or are we just going to pick out? Yes, I have been
to little-known website kotaku.co.uk, and
that's an up-and-comer. Keep an eye out for those kids.
Yeah, we're going to give them the push.
Cats. Yeah,
we're giving them the push. They're going to be in the stratosphere. It's going to be thanks to us.
You watch, they'll be Hollywood before you know it, listener.
So I found their list, and I'm just working off their chronological timeline because, frankly, I forgot about. I thought we should talk about this later, and by the time I realised it, it was too late, and I could have made notes, but it's far too late. But I can work with what we've got here. So kicks off with Jim Ryan, Sony Europe's Jim Ryan, Jim. I think the opening was really weird. Like, hey, some games have come out this year, and kind of people weren't sure whether to clap or not. Like
they were milking like the applause and the cheers, like to a really awkward degree.
The Order 1886. Boo!
It's just Kate Gray had a really good tweet about it yesterday. So cover for me while I find it.
So yeah, he revealed, he showed a few games that are already out to varying degrees of woo. Tearaway got a good woo. A couple other games got good woos, but it was kind of like, hey, this stuff's already out. It's gone really well, kind of, maybe. Are you there yet?
No. Keep going.
I can only pad this so much. Okay, so Jim Ryan also mentioned that we got a price cut last week. It's now £300 PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm literally just stealing this cut and paste from Kotaku. I don't care. Journalism. And we got to see a bit of the COD Blops 3 zombies, which do literally nothing for me What about
found it.
you?
So this week I woke up, woo, clap, 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 brushed my teeth, yay, clap, 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 and went to work, clap, clap, clap. Because it was like, it did get really awkward in that regard.
Yeah. Poor Jimmy Jim. But yeah, he showed off the Codlops, the zombie mode, which, to be fair, actually looked like it might be alright, you know?
Like, well, the actual single player is supposed to be pretty good in Blops this year. I mean, I'm not really one for it's not something that I want to play, but I don't, as I hear it's quite good though. But there were a lot of people saying like if they released Zombies on its own, we pick it up.
Yeah.
Although isn't last gen the multiplayer only this time, and does that include the zombie stuff?
Do you know? I honestly don't keep up with this. I really don't know. Like, I do not keep up. We've moved on.
Okay.
We've got to see a bit of Star Wars Battlefront as well.
I'm gonna step back a minute because there's something that I forgot about this, and it was awesome. And when they were leading up to the conference,
right,
they had screens.
Behind
the sofa with games that were coming up, and they had people on the sofa, which I think included Holly Bennett and maybe Nathan Dighton from PlayStation Access, but they were playing the games, and it's like, well, the conference it hadn't started yet, it wasn't ready yet, but you kind of got excited seeing people actually playing the games. I presume they were actually playing the games, but it was kind of cool not to be just sitting here and sort of twiddling my thumbs. Although PlayStation Tunes, CHOONZ, were a big part of that conference from start to finish.
Honestly, like, the thing is, the music they had, it was standard press conference fare.
Freedom. There was lots of freedom.
And then the screen would kind of change. You'd see a new bit of sizzle. Good sizzle reel, I thought, as well. Good sizzle reel with the shapes. Literally, they were throwing shapes at the screen.
I don't quite know why they had that amazing sort of introduction bit with people playing the games and drew us in, and then when the presentation will start in 5 minutes time, and then there was nothing but PlayStation tunes. That was weird. But yeah,
that's got to get time to get them all off the stage, get ready, haven't they? They need a few minutes.
Yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot. Carry on. So, Star Wars Battlefront, which still does not move me one iota.
I'm kind of concerned because it's not doing anything for me either, and I think that's, for me, comes down to a certain apathy for multiplayer shooters that aren't Destiny. Like,
well, you are hook, line, and sinker into Destas at this point.
Much like Jiminy Jim, he loved Destiny Taken King.
And like the more that I don't particularly like twatting about with continuity, and if it was just all sort of you're the rebels in this big battle against the Empire, or you're the Empire in this big battle against the rebels, but it's like, here's Han Solo, and here's it just seems like they're wheeling out what look like crap character models. And no.
Okay, they looked like the people they were supposed to look like, which, to be fair, shouldn't really be hard these days, should it? I'm going to make a prediction. I think Palpatine in that game will not be as fun as being an electric warlock in Destiny.
Good call. Right? But that's what they're up against. Like, those two, I'd say those two games are maybe occupying the same audience. And our friend Ellie Joy Panic really raved about Battlefront at the Eurogame Expo. And did you play the beta?
She told me, if you want to play Star Wars, you go there straight away. And I was like, I don't really see the point. There'll be loads of time. That queue was 4 hours long all day. Ridiculous. I didn't play the beta. I couldn't really be bothered with it, you know?
Well, you are hook, line and sinker into Destas.
I know, right? I know, it's got me. Like, if I could spend time on the Battlefront beta, but then I wouldn't be doing my dailies. And I wouldn't be getting my strange coins. So, like, am I hooked? Probably. Is that a problem? Probably. But, like, I don't know. Like, it seems a very I mean, I enjoyed playing the original Battlefront on PS2. I never played it online. I just played it kind of locally, on my own, and enjoyed it. But Battlefront looks good, but it looks like Battlefield with a Star Wars coat of paint. And I don't like Battlefield. I don't like it. I've tried it a couple of times, and you spawn in and you run about, and then someone you can't see shoots you from the other side of the map. And then you wake up, you do it again, and someone you can't see shoots you from the other side of the map. And then I'm like, you know what? Nah, don't want this. Nah, I'm good. And it just looks like that as well, with a Star Wars coat of paint. And if you played the beta and it's completely different, I apologise, because I've not played it. But it's just not doing anything for me, because I know I'm not going to play it. I don't see the point of buying it. I know I'm not going to play it. Because other people online, particularly in PvP type games, let's be fair, are bastards. I don't want to play against bastards. And I think Destiny is the only thing I felt that I could actually do. And even like in the Iron Banner, which I was doing a few weeks ago, like I felt like I was being effective. I didn't feel like I was excelling, but I was being alright at it. But like, a proper competitive, strategy kind of shooting game like that, I just think I'd be pants. I don't see the point. I'd be a liability on legs.
Yeah, there's something about Destas that I think that even if you're not a fan of first-person shooters, or you're not great at other first-person shooters for some reason, I'm maybe folks who are awesome at first-person shooters are just like, it's just running around and shooting men in the head whilst your armour absorbs bullets. But I don't know, there's something quite all-encompassing about Destiny that I don't know.
But that Darth Vader PS4 looks rubbish. It looks so bad. That controller looks wank.
It looks like in certain situations where you're actually controlling Darth Vader, like a hand puppet.
Honestly,
moving in front of the screen.
Right?
It's shocking.
Because for every time you see like a cool shot of him, you see someone putting something from the beta where a ship just crashes into one of the Jedis and just blows them up. It's like, remember how Luke Skywalker died with a TIE fighter landing on him from space? Like, yeah, it kind of... They don't seem to have the gravitas that I think they should. But yeah, I don't know. It's not doing much for me in a way that... And again, I'm kind of worried, because I'm kind of worried about the Star Wars film, because I know I'm going to watch it. It's my birthday film. It's what I'm going to go see on my birthday.
Cool.
But I can't help but be worried for it. I can't help but be worried that it's going to disappear up its own arse.
Do you know what's coming out on my birthday? Or just before it? Bloodborne DLC.
Hey! That's timely for you, because you well love your Bloodborne, don't you?
I am getting a hankering to get back into it, to be honest. It seems
Maybe
like
Hunter could be the time to get in. Like,
it seems like the sort of time of year where I will naturally play like scary stuff and lose myself into darkness.
True.
But we'll go into this on that thankfully delicious other show that we will undoubtedly record.
And we do occasionally when we remember.
Yeah, keep going.
What was next? What else did we see? Street Fighter 5. I'm not a Street Fighter man, but fuck, that new one looks cool, right?
Well, judging from...
Dawson's got a beard.
Judging from the people who love Street Fighter, and I'm going on Andy Hamilton and Tamur Hussain and Rich Woodward, all of them are really, really smitten with it. And the release date, thankfully, makes that beta look like, yeah, the game's done. We just need to test the netcode a bit and then tweak a few of the results afterwards, because that's quite soon, sort of afterwards. So
yeah, it's like February, isn't it? It's really soon. Yeah. Also, fucking credit to Ono's Dealy Boppers. Why did Ono have Dealy Boppers? Like, why?
Also, I mean, going from... Because I nearly said... at this point where he was sort of teasing with the final announcement, I nearly put on Twitter, "Hey Paddy, this game needs Tekken," and I didn't put it. But it was fun to see those two out on stage and like bants with each other.
Because they do like a series where they do challenges against each other. Like,
no?
Yeah, dude, it's on YouTube. It's like Ono, I think it's just literally called like Ono versus Harada or Harada versus Ono or something. And they just do challenges. They get like stupid ones like who can bash the most eggs against their head. Like nothing of any consequence. Or like unrolling toilet paper and shit. Brilliant.
Genius. Right.
Because they're having so much fun with it as well. And they dress up. Harada dresses up like Heihachi and Ono dresses up like fucking Ken.
This is amazing.
Dude, honestly, it is so funny, and because they're really into it as well. Like you can tell they're having fun, and I like that they're friends. I like that they're not angry about each other. Like they're both on different games. Like they do genuinely seem to enjoy each other's work and like just spar each other to have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like this kind of mock rivalry where Harada wanders out on stage and they go, "Oh, it's you doing rehearsed dialogue as well." I see. Like,
that was fantastic.
It's fucking amazing.
So you being the one of two people in the world who prefers Tekken to Street Fighter, the other one again being Chris from Chomp Chain. What did you make of the Tekken announcement and the stuff that they showed?
Well, you say Tekken announcement, it's like it's coming out on PlayStation 4, and I wasn't sure. I was like, well, duh. Like, of course it is. Duh.
Yeah, but didn't the last one come out on loads of stuff?
It did, but like this one's coming out on at least PlayStation 4, which is like, again, like, duh. Was that the announcement?
There are other consoles.
Yeah, like I don't mean to sound like I'm in Mean Girls, but duh. Like, but I really enjoyed the little sizzle trailer where they went through the history of the franchise. You know, you got to see like the Tekken 1 stuff with that delightful old Tekken 1 arcade sound effect going on over the top of it. Like, brilliant. Like, proper colours, sparkle, burst. I'm the guy that's really looking forward to what's going to go on with the plot. I'm the guy who cares about the Mishima clan. I'm that guy. I'm the guy who wants to know about that time Kazuya got through into the volcano. I want to know about Heihachi's wife. I want to know all this stuff. Like, I'm that guy. I need to know about this stuff. And I need to know all the other stupid endings, like what happens when Paul wins, or the panda. How does that affect the Mishima clan? Like,
I love
because
you,
that's
man.
often the funniest.
So
that's often the funniest part. The endings, honestly, the endings are my favourite. Like Tekken 5. Tekken 5 has the best endings of any fighting game ever. One of them, Kuma the bear takes over command of the Mishima clan, and he's got buttons on his desk. One of them gets him a fish, and the other one opens a trapdoor in front of the desk, and he drops Heihachi through.
That's the dream for most of us, really, isn't it?
Honestly, it's so stupid. Like, there are so many funny endings in it. Like, and like, that's what I want. I just want to. I'm an ending whore. I love to watch the endings. They're always so good. And there's like 4 or 5 serious ones about someone going on a quest for vengeance, and then there's a goofy one involving all the old members of this cast getting together to kind of be angry at the young ones. It's off its fucking head. But yeah, like I really, I'm a Tekken man. Just to jump ahead slightly as well, they're developing it for PlayStation VR as well. What?
Yeah, there was a hefty tickle with VR sort of sprinkled throughout the entire presentation. It's difficult to get across VR in presentations like this. So
yeah,
maybe that's the reason that there were sort of swathes and dollops throughout.
Yeah. It's happening. We'll get to it later, but there's more of that later on the list that I've clearly written myself and haven't stolen from Kotaku.
Hey, those guys are on the up.
They are on the up. They've got a seal of approval.
Just consider it a plug for them.
That's a free plug as well.
I know.
Okay. Up next, a game called Battleborn. Another fucking mascot-based multiplayer shooter MOBA type thing. They're all blending into one at the minute. I just cannot.
It's what's his name? Frisky Pitchfork, Randy Pitchford, and I still think of the fact that allegedly he took money from Sega to make that Aliens game, put most of it into Borderlands 2, and then gave that Aliens game, which he'd sold everybody a little bit of smoke and mirrors with a demo that wasn't actually a demo, and then sort of gave a little bit of money to some sort of shit developer to do Aliens Colonial Marines.
That's the one.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd still like to get Borderlands 2, but frankly, that's one of those that I really want secondhand, because I just don't like the thought of money going to him.
Borderlands 2 came out on Plus a while ago. You may have it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not on about
like,
PS. I'm not on about PS3. I'm on about new gen.
Oh, okay. But you have a game where you run around picking up guns that are different colours that are slightly better.
You see, I need to contrast this against the person that I had to coerce back into getting back into Destiny.
Look, this is your fault.
Right, I'm gonna say this now.
Dealer man.
I was chatting it with Ellie earlier. There were so many people sort of last year were just like, oh, I'm not paying £20 for that piece of DLC. It was like, well, you can get both of them for about 35, and then you can get like PlayStation credit and stuff and get them a bit cheap. No, for the amount that's on offer, I'm not picking that up. And then it's just like, I can buy a dance. And like people are just like
those Halloween
uber thrown
dances,
in for those stuff.
Those Halloween dances, right? They have got everyone because they gave you silver last week to spend on news, and then they put this out later, so you have to buy silver.
Well,
bastards, wonderful bastards.
You don't have to buy silver, but we'll go into this in the next Twin Destiny.
Okay, so next up, right, a game that looked a bit like, imagine if you made Minecraft, right, but you made it on high def, right, a game called Boundless.
You run around
a pixel. No,
yes!
This did absolutely nothing for me.
No, it did everything for me.
I don't know.
You and me having a laugh, but we're not playing Minecraft. No.
I liked the little portals. The portals were cool. I thought they were great. But
I loved it. I loved the art style. I loved it. I was like, yeah, love me some of that. I forgot what it's called.
If you've played as much, it's called Boundless. If you've played as much Minecraft as I have, you look at that and you go,
I haven't played Minecraft. I sat through a presentation yesterday at Game City by a man that had written a book about Minecraft.
Right.
And yeah, I really don't know how to play Minecraft. But it was, I'll tell this story here now. Afterwards, on my way home, I went into Granger Games and I saw a woman whose kids were about 8 and 10, and she picked games off the shelf for them. She picked Dying Light and Sniper Elite for them. Both 18 rated games, and that was somehow fine. And, you know, I've got friends that work at game shops who cover that kind of abuse from parents all the time when they're saying, like, you do know that these aren't suitable for them, and, you know, they don't raise my child and all that kind of stuff. But this was in contrast to sitting in this presentation with a guy talking about a Minecraft book that he'd written, and kids asking questions like, why can't you get circles in Minecraft, and what's your favorite block? It's like, that's childhood. And also the best bit was one kid when that was it. He said to this kid, Can any block be destroyed in Minecraft? And this kid like thought about it and he went, yeah. And there was this the kid that said yeah was maybe about 2 rows up from me on the left near this. There was like a walkway in between, but he was 2 rows up on the left. A row up from me, sort of a 1 seat to the right of where I was, there was this other kid sitting on the edge of his seat while like the bloke asked the question, and as the kid went, yeah, this kid who looked younger than him went, and it was part like, that's the wrong answer, and part this snake-like derision that he got it wrong. It was fabulous. But yeah, go on, Minecraft. You love Minecraft.
I love Minecraft. I do love Minecraft. But this looks like it is
one
Minecraft
of the reasons that I went into this presentation was because I could understand Minecraft, because I have it on PS4 and you've invited me in a couple of times and I don't know how to do it.
Well, we have to do. Well, we'll spend a day. We'll go and I'll show you how to punch a tree and build a little house that you can call your own.
Yeah, it's the incinerate stuff, but we will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm derailing this.
That's fine. Then derail away. Okay, so moving on from Minecraft, right. Thing I gave the least of a shit about of the entire show, Vector, a new kind of rhythm game developed by dance person Avicii. Who gives a fuck?
I didn't quite get this. Is he somebody famous?
He has done some music for stuff. I couldn't tell you who it was, but if it came on the radio and you said that's him, I'd go, oh, him. One of those kind of songs. It's everywhere on every advert, but you don't know who it is until they say, oh, it's him.
Is it his music in it, or has he coded it out on the road? Because I saw that video.
He hasn't coded a fucking thing.
I don't know. I couldn't quite ascertain any of it. Honestly,
he appears to be one of those dance people that drop the fat beats on crowds that have done their poppers. Wow, look at me dismissing an entire genre. It looks like they're trying to do. I'm that kid in
the Minecraft thing now. Like,
yeah, like it looks like they're trying to do amplitude kind of stuff where you're a little ship going along a track and hitting notes on a track, but like it just looked like a big pile of wank, absolute big pile of wank. And the fact that they're saying, "Hey, look, this real musician's involved. You should buy it because this real musician's doing it. He's a real musician. Look, he's a real musician."
To play devil's advocate, do you think that people, maybe outside of gaming, or people that wouldn't normally pick up that sort of game, will take a look in because of who this person is?
No.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't think the crossover of people who play games and people who mash it up in that manner is as big as it could be. I don't know who it's for.
Move on.
I don't know who it's for. No Man's Sky, for the 19th time we've seen it at a show. That's fine. It looks great.
Let's say that trailer was belting, and it looks like it's. I don't know. It looks like. I've seen people go, well, clearly Sony have told them to put things into the game, and it needs to be this, needs to be that, and I'm wondering if they just held that bit back for this sort of announcement, because that trailer seemed like it got a bit more impetus to it, rather than it just being like, this is the planet, you can go here, this is what you can do, this is the ecosystem, this is how everything's generated. It actually seemed to have a bit of punch to it. The voiceover was fantastic, the music worked really well. I thought it was a great trailer. And
apparently it was Rutger Hauer. It was Rutger Hauer did it.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Which is nice when you think about it. But yeah, no, June 2016, that's fine. That's cool. I'm of the opinion with No Man's Sky, and as much people are like, oh, it's been at 3 years, it's been there now. Ooh. It's like, no, put it out when it's ready. Don't half bake it. Get it out when it's done. Like, I don't want to have to wait for the second week patch or the update to change things. I want it to be out, and I want it to just fucking be. I want it to work. I want it to be perfect.
Well, I get the feeling that that's the case, and as I hear it, that it started as a 4-man team, and it's swelled to a mighty 12 now.
Whoa!
Steady.
Look out, Activision.
Yeah, well, to give an idea, I saw. I was in a sort of conference. I say conference with a presentation that Mike Bithell did the other day, and he was saying that volumes had swelled to a team of about 20 to 30, I think.
Yeah, because he did Thomas basically by himself, didn't he?
Yeah, to put that into side by side with it, that's wow, 14.
Yeah.
If there's like 12 people now, that's still pretty crazy.
Mental. But yeah, No Man's Sky is. I'm day one on that, and the fact that it's June 2016 is nice because it gives us a bit of breathing room over the holidays to kind of finish stuff. Because I worry that that's going to start taking over my life. We're going to have to find a planet and just fucking destroy it. Can't wait. But yeah, June 2016, fine with that. Brilliant. I don't even mind. Oh, do you know what? I wouldn't even mind Christmas of next year. I'm happy to wait when it's done. Next game.
Yep.
Right, next game, a game from Housemarque, a studio who apparently is 20 years old. Who knew? A game called Matterfall. Which looks like sci-fi. It looks a bit like Vanquish, but like 2D maybe. So you're a guy.
What have these guys done before? Because I remember hearing that.
Don't ask that question. I need to pretend to Google. I'm not Googling. How the fuck do you spell Housemarque? There's a Q in it somewhere.
Yeah, it's...
they made Super Stardust and Outland. There we go. And Resogun.
Yeah, that's where I kind of I thought, ooh, because at first it was a bit Vanquish, wasn't it?
Oh, they've made loads of games, mate.
Yeah, but I think this is the thing. Whilst it was difficult to get a feeling for the game from that flavour taste, that Resogun suggested a really good action game. And it wouldn't surprise me, knowing what they've done before, if that's the case here. Although it was, like I say, it was difficult to to really get a feel for that beyond sort of Dead Spaceman running, as Sean Bell called it.
See, I got Vanquish Man, but 2D.
Okay.
Because Vanquish was the tits, and it looks like his gun transforms into other stuff. It looks like you're shooting blobs of voxel pixel things in space. Go on then, yeah, it looks good. Like, it looks like something that appeals to me, kind of like stylish shooty gunman. Like, yeah. But yeah, it looks alright. I want to see gameplay. Show us gameplay next. Speaking of gameplay next, gentlemen, prime your boners. Ratchet and Clank trailer.
Oh my god.
Right.
That was awesome. That was
Right.
awesome. And I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game before, but that will be the first one that I play. That looked fantastic.
Honestly.
I know you've often raved about that sort of thing, and my touchstone to that now is Skylander SWAT Force, because that's the same sort of feel that I got from seeing Ratchet and Clank from a distance. But as an ignoramus, I looked at that. It's like, yeah, I want to do that. That's colourful. It's beautiful. Looks funny. I'm up for that. As an enthusiast for that series, how did that trailer move you?
Right, so I played Ratchet and Clank 1 a while ago, right? About, I would say less than a year ago, I went through Ratchet and Clank 1 again. So a lot of it's quite fresh. Some of the places they go to, I can recognise straight away where they are, what's going on. Like, there's a bit where you're kind of flying around a space station. It's like, that's the drag station. That's the bit where the hoverboard track is. That's where that is. That's where that is. Oh my god! Like in like a second, I could look at it and go, I know where that is. The bit where they go to like the island paradise, sort of looking island, right? Where there's this kind of like centipede robot flying through the sky, right? That is a little planet called Pokitaru, which is a holiday resort planet that's gone up the shit creek recently. And in the game, when you're making ready to kind of go to Pokitaru, Ratchet does a thing where he puts his hand out like he's sort of surfing and goes, Pokitaru, and kind of moves his hands about. I did that when I saw that on the screen. I sat on myself going, Pokitaru.
So is it a remake or an adaptation or a sort of new version?
The movie, the game. It's the movie, the game.
Okay.
They're going to be following roughly it looks like they're following roughly the sort of the flow of levels from Ratchet and Clank 1, but they're kind of remixing them a little bit, making them fresh, making them spangly and new again, sort of Tomb Raider Anniversary style, kind of remixing it and changing it a bit, but it's going to follow the plot of the film apparently, which is great because Dr. Nefarious, or Best Villain Ever, from Ratchet and Clank 3 has been inserted into this.
Right, this is something I need to find out as well, and this is going to be me typing things in. Dr. Nefarious,
right,
Ratchet and Clank, because I think this is Richard Horvitz, who was Invader Zim and the villain from Skylander SWAT Force.
Very possible. He's got a very distinctive voice pattern.
Yeah. Let me have a look. He's got that wonderful sort of screamy voice. Here we go. Let me have a look.
I mean, he's one of my favourite. Like, he might be one of my favourite. I think he might be my favourite villain ever because he's so laughable, but like at equal points, kind of like terrifying. But then his brain will stop working.
No, it's not him. It's somebody called Armin Shimmerman.
Oh,
yeah. Who?
Armand Shimmerman.
Who knew?
Fucking hell. But the big twist here with Nefarious being in it is that, okay, so Nefarious is a robot man who was turned into a robot and now hates all the squishy things. He was a human and got pushed into a thing by Captain Quark by accident, and he became a robot man, and thus he hated all the squishies. He's in this before he became a robot. Like, that's like, right? This is like when people went to see Star Wars, right? The prequels, right? But Anakin Skywalker wasn't Darth Vader yet. Like, what? Yeah, sold. Like, that trailer was astonishingly good. As a Ratchet and Clank fan, that is exactly what I want. Even the first line with Quark going, space, it's full of bigness. Like, that's him. It's perfect. It's perfect. And all the voice actors are back. It's the right voice actors. The charm is there. They're going to the same places you've been before, but new, shiny, colourful, like how your brain remembers it, not how it actually is. Like, I think those games are still a fucking joy to play now. Like, the PS2 ones are still a goddamn joy. And this looks like it's just amping the joy potential to as big as it can be. I am so excited.
I will interject as well on an Insomniac tip that I bought something that you recommended to me quite some time ago, which I picked up pre-owned the other day. It should be here tomorrow actually for £12.95, and that's Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's on its way.
Oh, cool.
So I played the 48-hour trial a while back and was like, yeah, I really like this. But didn't pick it up.
So the one recommendation of mine you've actually taken is the one thing I played once at a fucking show. Rather than the ones that I play all the time.
I don't know. No, it's not like that. No,
it's fucking brilliant.
I think the thing that resonated was that you were you're a really big Insomniac fan. That you'd actually, because you sat down in front of a number of other consoles at that Gamescom, and you just played games, which was really fun to see you do. And I know you recommended Affordable Space Adventures, which I hear is incredible. And Sunset Overdrive, you were saying like loved it to pieces, and it seems to be
great.
Seems to be a love it or hate it game with many folks, and I really liked the stuff that I played and loved that palette.
Tony Hawk with guns, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. And there's now wrong with that?
Cartoony Hawk.
Moving on.
Hey. Okay.
Next,
next, something else. Well, gentlemen, don't put your boners away just yet. Horizon Zero Dawn.
It looks nice. It does look like kind of Metal Monster Hunter.
Right. I don't. When I was on Twitter, a lot of people were saying, I hope this is like Monster Hunter. And I'm thinking to myself, shut up. Because I never got on with Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
and I know did we ever cover this? Like, I don't get on with Monster Hunter particularly. Not that it's bad, it's just I don't gel with it. I don't want this to be Monster Hunter. I want it to be its own thing.
But you've not ever gotten to the point with the newer Monster Hunters, which are much more accessible. The sync when I fell into Monster Hunter 3 was ages into it, and that's not easy to sort of intimate. Even when you were here and I was doing the gentlemanly thing of showing you how daft you can look.
Top hats.
Yeah.
Is the hat.
That's really cool. But my one worry with Horizon, because I did really like that demo. My one worry is that I don't think Guerrilla make good games, and I know that they've had a lot of the Witcher team come over to join them on this, which probably explains why it looks so sodding lovely. But they've got one of the writers from Fallout New Vegas to come over and work on the writing. My one worry is that it will be kind of a brilliant plate, a lovely looking plate with nothing on it. Which is difficult to intimate at this stage anyway. We're just flying by the seat of our Toulouse.
Yeah, we've not seen a lot of the world. We've just seen the same kind of, essentially the same thing twice, haven't we? They took down the big T-Rex thing. I get like I get a real big enslaved vibe off it. Like it looks,
very much
like enslaved. It's pretty and robots, and I'm down with that. And I would even argue against that Guerrilla don't make like. I actually thought Killzone Shadowfall was all right. It wasn't amazing, but it was all right. It played really well. it played smooth, and it's gorgeous, stunning to look at. Really, really nice to look at. Yeah, I don't know. It still looks like the sort of thing I'm going to get as soon as it comes out, because like a lot of games in this show kind of had that kind of wild kind of look to them. But something about the robots as well as the wild like sells me on it. Like it's a bit weird.
I still think there's more to come from that story in that world, because I actually felt a little bit sad. When she got the herd and the herd ran away. I felt a little bit sad on that, and not like they're just sort of robots that are mimicking animals or whatever. I got a real there was a lot of character, a lot of feel in the way that they huddled, the way that they moved, the fact that you got the alpha males that were trying to protect the rest of the pack. That to me suggested that there may be something really quite special there, I guess. I'm really up for this.
Yeah, and the fact that that most games would show a game like that by showing kind of lots of smash cuts of different monsters, and this is happening, and this person's jumping, and explosion. Whereas this has just shown gameplay. It's pretty much just shown gameplay so far, with a couple of tickles, and the character we're getting off the world just from seeing it in motion. Bro, yep. Like you were saying about having the alpha males and the robot characters you're fighting seem to have their own personalities. They do seem to behave differently, and just getting all of that just from a quick 5-minute gameplay demo, brilliant. Still excited for this. It's good.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, next up, Bloodborne expansion trailer went up. The old hunters.
We will cover that in Twin Humanities. Moving on.
Coming soon. Drive Club. It's got bikes in it now.
Right, this is I've saved this tweet because it is genius. Max Scoville said, "Video game press release from the maker of Car comes new game Motorcycle. If you like car, look out. Motorcycle is car with 2 wheels and no door." Well played, Mr. Scoville.
Well played. I think it looks pretty, and it's out now, which is pretty good. It's pretty. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to buy it, but
yeah.
But and a lot of the, again, very predictable response on Twitter. Didn't Burnout do this for free? Yeah, they did. But
I don't know. I think there's an upswing with what happened with Drive Club and the debacle of those of the server issues. Is that now the game's £9.99. A lot of people have picked it up because of that and have really, really enjoyed it because it is a good game. So if you're
my dad enjoyed it. I let my dad have a go the other day, and he just sat there round and round and round on a time trial for ages. It's not really for me, but for my dad,
I enjoyed the stuff that I played. I must admit, but something different for fans of the game, and I believe that there are quite a lot of them, and I think that Sony's. I think they're building up a fan base for future games. I think there's a brand there in the same way as that Forza's got Forza Horizon for the more arcadey stuff, and Forza itself, the numerical for the more serious enthusiast. It looks like they've now got the equivalent of Horizon for Gran Turismo, although we've got a bit of that later on, and I think that's a bit more arcadey than Gran Turismo.
Let's not forget that Drive Club. I forgot what I was trying to say. In the Edge 100, one of the 100 best games ever, Drive Club. Moving on. Honestly, that Edge 100 was terrible. Right, next up. A game that I should care about but don't. Gravity Rush 2.
There was a little consternation about that on Twitter. Lots of people that really loved it from Vita, and the stuff that they showed was gorgeous. Frankly,
it was pretty.
And I think they're remastering the first one, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, but I played the first one on Vita, and I didn't get on with it. I just thought it was wank. Thought it was absolute wank, and I'm playing it and I'm getting angry at the controls, and I want it to be better, but a lot of people love it, and I just can't find it. I just couldn't find it.
I do prefer Gravity Days though, the Japanese name. No, it is. It's Gravity Days, DAZE.
Of course it is. Yeah. I always get confused.
That's another one of those like Psycho Break becoming the Evil Within. I just think it's a daft name change. But,
Biohazard, Resident Evil.
Plough on, my beautiful tractor.
Yeah. Next up, Uncharted 4, right? Get this. It's got multiplayer in it, right? And it's got magic.
Snark, boom, snark, boom, snark, boom, snark, boom, snark. No. Just no.
Is your preparation just reading your own Twitter feed?
That's all that was.
But, they're not going to throw the snark at you in that volume. I thought it looked alright. It looked mental. He threw El Dorado at a man.
In the game's defence, I understand from Ellie that The Last of Us multiplayer is really good. I'd not played it. I'd not played any of the previous Uncharted multiplayer. But all right then, isn't it like a free beta that's coming up soon or something?
There is, somehow. I think you get onto it by doing a thing. I don't know. I think if you bought the Nathan Drake collection, you get in on it, and I'm sure they'll put it up for Plus people. They must do. It's too big for them not to put it up for Plus people. So, yeah, go on then. Yeah. Fine. It looks alright. Next up, right? I'm confused about this next one. Okay. Right? Dreams. Right? What is it?
Well, on the one hand, they have said today that there's going to be a beta, so at least they get to give people an idea.
You get to look at it and work out what it is.
Of what it is, yeah. So,
because I've watched all the kind of videos about this now, and I've watched it. I still don't know what it is or who it's for.
Oh well, I mean, my main concern when I was watching it was, I mean, I've said before, it seems that Sony like the thought of having Media Molecule, but don't know quite what to do with them. The fact that they didn't promote, or seemingly didn't promote, Tearaway PS4, and it went in at 33 in the charts is pretty criminal. And I don't know if the beta and them showing the demo that they showed, which looked beautiful.
Of course, it looks stunning.
Is going to be a massive push for them anyway, and this is a really good sign. I think it is, but there's still that kind of worry that it's difficult for people to ascertain exactly what they're going to be monkeying about with.
To go into a shop and say, here is 45 of my pounds, but I want to make a weird dreamscape where I jump around a bit. There's a panda and there's a rat. But
the beta's there, so those people going into it will have been able to ascertain one way or another as to whether it's for them or not. And I think that rather than it being this big question mark, most people try it and are going to decide as to whether it's for them or not. But it was an intriguing demo, I must admit.
Like I'm more interested in it now than I was when I first saw it, like just seeing it actually working, and the fact that they showed off on those little kind of sizzle reels at the end where they show off all the different games you can make. Like it's just like Little Big Planet, but they've gotten away from the 2D. Really, I mean, you can just kind of build whatever you want, and that's kind of cool. I don't know. It's like this weird sort of puppet theatre look to it all, which is good. And I'm again just confused. I
love that kind of part painted, part cake look with, and like wonderful art direction, just really, really gorgeous art direction.
And apparently all made on the PS4 console itself, using their creation tools.
So
which are typically
within
robust,
this conversation, I'm now more curious to find out what it is. But yes, we shall see.
Dreams, isn't it? Weird. Right now we've hit the futuristic part of the podcast now. Right, you know that virtual reality. Right, we're going to talk about that for a bit now. We'll bang through these quite quick because there's quite a bit to get through here. First up, Riggs Mechanized Combat League, a game that one of my pals I went to uni with is actually working on at Gorilla Cambridge, which is kind of cool, and it's been kind of cool seeing them all get excited to see it going up on the show, seeing it going up live. Looks actually pretty neat. You are in a big robot man, and apparently you have to score goals by putting yourself in a goal. Like, okay, takes away the ball. I like it. Looks stunning. Like, really looks nice. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the headset first, or do you want to talk about the games? Because I feel like we need to talk about the headset. I don't know who's going to buy it.
In all honesty, I mean, they say it's going to be the price of a console anyway, and
that's a lot.
I'm going to cover for me now because I'm going to go diving for a tweet from somebody else.
Okay. If it's the price of a console, like that's quite a bit of money to jump in for a telly on your head. And I understand that VR's cool, and I think it might be one of those things that you only get sold on it when you put it on your head. Like, I can't... Watching the trailers of things being shown, I can't see, like, well, why can't this just be a game? Like, why can't this just be the game without having to put a thing on my head that cost me 300 quid?
Do you think there's
why can't this just be the game?
There's a degree of willy-waving between all of the companies and
Oh yeah.
And, you know, of showing how far they are with their own technology to prove that they are the in company rather than because
totally.
I mean that on the one hand, Sony are putting a lot of money into this stuff. On the other, there's I can't find this tweet, but I think it was here we go. I've now. It's hard to find people when they've got Halloween names. Let me
fucking hate Halloween names. They're so
let
stupid.
me just find this tweet because it was really good, and I'm just gonna miss it anyway. But it was essentially like, can you trust Sony with their VR headset without thinking about the Vita, the Move, the PlayStation Eye, and all of those sort of things, and that they'll continue to follow it up and push it without being kind of a gimmick that they shove into a cupboard quicker than you realise.
Right, do you know what the problem with all that is? That's not even my front room 2 feet away. Fucking, I'm looking at it going, yeah, that's there. I've got moves in the cupboard. I've got two iToys from the PlayStation 3. I've got about 4 of them from the PlayStation 2. Like, I was the guy that bought all that shit. So, like, it sounds like I'm going to be the guy that buys this as well. I don't know. I find VR to be quite exclusive. It's a very solitary experience, I find. You can't sort of share it. Like, you know, I can't sit on the sofa and play one of these games with Laura because it means I have to buy 2 fucking helmets.
That's not the case with PlayStation VR, as far as I'm aware. That it does output to the television as well, and on because the weird thing is about PlayStation VR and VR in general is that I learned more about it at Game City last week, than I've learned sitting through any of these presentations, Yeah, the PlayStation VR is, I think, the only one that currently outputs the television as well. And they've had, in a lot of these games, that's given people something to do who are sitting on the sofa with the controller, as well as the person that's going through it in the game with the headset on, which I find really intriguing. But yeah, I mean, Mike Bithell was talking about they're doing a version of Volume for VR, which is going to launch with it. So, which is pretty cool. And he was saying that he's working with an external development team on this, and he says that he got this build back, and he was going through this level, and he says, like, you know, I know quite a few of the levels off the back of my hand, and he says, and there was this wall that was there, like a person-sized wall, and he was like, why is that there? And he says, like, he peeked over the top of the wall and it was just parallax stuff, like, down below him, just different levels going from on and on and on, and he went like, oh. So yeah, the stuff that I've gleaned from Game City with the investment that Sony's put into this, and how passionate people are that are working with it, that hopefully it is going to be a bit more than the latest gimmick that fails.
Standard gimmick, yeah, completely. Because I don't want it to fail. Like, it looks like it might be cool, but like that price barrier, I don't know if you're going to get enough adoption to make it worth developers really going for. They said they have 200 developers working on games for it, or things for it. I don't know. I find that kind of hard to
again,
believe.
I think I don't know how much of this is sort of willy waving stuff, but we'll see, I guess.
But you can't deny they haven't got games for it, because there's about 6 or 7 games they showed off just for VR. Like, at one point I was like, are we still watching the VR bit? Oh, it's still VR. Oh, okay. Like, I expected it to be done far earlier. There was we covered Rigs, the multiplayer combat shooter jumper whole man ball game. Until Dawn is having a VR add-on.
I think that's
that seems to be set in a theme park that looks kind of neat.
I think that's the biggest thing that they've announced, as far as I'm concerned, and for the rest of the public, because I still really want to play that game. Me too. It looks.
The plan is to get it over Halloween and play it with a few of us. My sister and her boyfriend. We want to sit and play it all together.
Well, from what I've been able to ascertain from a few podcasts, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Totally. Okay. We've got a game called Robinson as well, which appears to be dinosaurs but with the Destiny Ghost.
Oh, that was terrible. That was the one where it was just
it looked kind of scary.
That was the one where it was like, stop. It's not.
Carry on. Yeah, it looked cool, but it didn't look like the game. It looked like pre-rendered to me. It didn't look like that's what it will play like.
Also,
it was cutscene.
Crytek aren't the best really at games.
No.
I say that minus Crysis 2, which I really, really love.
They make good tech. Don't know about games. They make good tech. Battlezone, tank combat, which looks like World of Tanks, but if it was in Tron.
Which I hear really good things about. So.
Yeah, it looked like it might be a bit of a laugh. It looked like a bit 80s, a little bit sort of. Here's some big, silly, glowing places. Shoot a man in them. Like, okay. Yeah, okay. It looked alright. Again, I don't know why it needs to be VR.
Push on.
I'd play that on, that was a PSN game, and that was through a Plus 1 week. Like the same with what's it called? Not Supersonic Rocket Power Battle Cars. Rocket League, that's it. Let's call it by its original name then. Rocket League, did the same thing with that. That could be a massive hit. A massive hit. As it stands, not sure. And then they showed off that terrifying tightrope walking bit. The walk.
God, that was
where they put a headset on you and make you walk on a tightrope.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
Thanks for that, Sony. Have you got a VR game where you plunge me underwater and strangle me to death? Because I look forward to that one as well. Thanks.
While all your Dark Souls discs are snapped in front of your eyes. It gets worse. Yeah, it looks terrifying. Like that's a cool use of VR. Like, go on then. Yeah. And then again they mentioned here Tekken 7 coming to PlayStation VR, and I don't know what to make of that. Like, you can watch it, and you can be in Heihachi's eyes while you're punching people. What? Why? I don't understand. Are you going to have to stand there and punch the wall like a div? Who knows? Right, yes. Moving on. Right, do you like, right, so, that announcement from Drive Club earlier, right? Right. Do you like driving cars more than
Honestly,
bikes?
That guy looked so sick of cars.
Kazunori Yamauchi. Like, so Gran Turismo Sport, a new Gran Turismo game, is coming out on PS4. Of course it is. Of fucking course it is. But I think this is the first they've shown of it. This is the reveal, wasn't it? And I noticed quite a lot of initial negativity on Twitter going, oh, it's another Gran Turismo game. That game is going to sell fucking millions. That game is going to sell fucking millions.
It's not for us, but is it essentially the prologue to Gran Turismo?
Yeah. They're doing a GT prologue again, I think. But, like, that's fine, because they always seem to be pretty, like, they say prologue, but there's always a lot to them. It's to keep the fans, busy until the real one comes out. But, I don't know, seems kind of neat. Like, it looks pretty, I guess. I'm not going to buy it. I don't play those games. But, and without wanting to kind of dissuade a whole vast of people, your average FIFA person really likes Gran Turismo. They like to drive the car. Your dad loves to drive the car. Driving the car. Your dad loves that.
On the green half of the bench, like the Forza 6 has been incredibly successful. But I will wager if he was truly sincere about cars, that he'd have one balancing on wires above him just to put pressure on him, pressure of death on him, like Big Phil.
Yeah. Honestly, like, do you like cars? Here's a car. Look at this car. Do you know what? Now you say that, I'm amazed that we had a press conference that showed off 2 new games with cars in them, or bikes, if you were, and they didn't show off a car. You always get that at these fucking things. They roll a car out. Look, we got a car. Look, it's this car. You can drive that in the game. You can't buy one though; it's too expensive. But it's in the game. Yeah, cars, brilliant. Right, Gran Turismo. It's going to sell millions. Not to me though. Right, next up, a game that I first saw while stood in a queue waiting to play Bloodborne at Gamescom last year. A game called Wild, made by Michel Ancel, the Rayman guy.
It was called Within a Moment of Genius by Dave Scammell, Shaman Legends.
Yep. Shaman Legends, yep. That's perfect. That is perfect. you're a shaman running around dealing with nature and solving the problems using nature. I thought
Yeah,
this looked really
thought
good.
it was incredibly creative, and there were a bunch of us that were all kind of joking about with it on Twitter at first, but everybody afterwards just went, "No, that was really good." And that man can make games. Let's face it.
He summons the eagle by swinging the staff around his head to make the staff make
He pulled a wheelie
noise.
with a bear. And when he
Did you see how he whistled for the bear? He just went,
no, it was better than
and
that.
the bear turned up.
It was like this part sort of death metal burp. He's like, bear. Essentially, a bear. Snake. Sausages. Cookies.
Fucking pig shows up. Oh, this is awkward.
Right. But yeah, I'd really love that. It looks amazing. It's smooth as anything. Yeah, I'm curious about this one. It's turned my head a bit, to be honest.
And the fact there's lots of different animals you can do so with. It turns out cannibals don't notice rabbits.
Not if they...
You can be a cannibal, run past a cannibal. Like, you can be a rabbit, run past the cannibals. They're not going to see you. They just want to eat human flesh.
If they swim a bit beforehand.
No. The one slight disconnect I thought at the end was giant snake tits lady at the end.
I don't think I noticed
What's that all about?
I think I was tweeting apologies that I quite liked it.
How did you not notice that? She was 40 feet tall.
No, I think I was probably tweeting at that point.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you summon the snake deity, and it turns out to be a totally giant hot chick covered in snake bits. For some reason, and she's like, "Oh, snaky words. I'm going to extend my S's." Like, it was a bit shit, but the rest of the game looked really good. Like riding bears, wheelies on bears, brilliant. Fucking go on then. And the fact that apparently the guy, the shaman you do, he's got tattoos, and every tattoo you get is from something that happens in the story. It's kind of neat. Like you're building up your story on your body as you play. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Right, last game then. Divisive game from David Cage, who about 50% of people absolutely despise and 50% don't mind. So they've taken that tech demo, Kara, where they put the robot lady together and they ask her questions, and they sort of say, actually, no, she's defective and she doesn't want to get killed, essentially. She says, no, don't take me apart, don't kill me. And they let her live. This is what happens when they let her out of the factory, essentially. And I think they genuinely... I don't think they've been disingenuous there. I think they genuinely built that bit and like, actually, yeah, I want to see what happens next. Like, that's a cool thing they built. Like, I don't know, what do you think about this one?
Have heard the consternation about David Cage without ever playing any of his games. And I do have a bit of a thing for AI stuff and, you know, the Ghost in the Machine. Judging by that trailer, and, you know, we don't know how it's going to play. And as I understand it, Cage often needs a bit of an editor, whether it be on story or game or whatever. And as I understand it, people have said that it just seems like a frustrated film director. But I really loved that trailer. I thought it was fabulous. It punches a lot of favourite notions of a lot of favourite sci-fi tropes, be it like books, movies, anime, that kind of stuff. And I've recently watched Ghost in the Shell Rise, which I really enjoyed. Being Human was good before it got cancelled, with the bloke who played Judge Dredd.
Oh, the one with
yeah,
Urban.
I really enjoyed that. And a few folks on Twitter were mentioning Humans, a Channel 4 show that's got a bit of a it's got that kind of flavour to it. But I really enjoyed that trailer. I thought it was great. Yourself?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I really liked Heavy Rain. Like I thought Heavy Rain was brilliant. In the midst of a lot of people saying it was shit, like I thought Heavy Rain was great. I got to the end of that game and I was sitting there like a little mess on the floor, like, oh, things happened that was sad. I never played Beyond. I didn't like the demo, but like David Cage gets a lot of shit. He gets a lot of shit, and some of it is deserved because you know, he does come out with some things. He's come out with some really stupid thing, like words from his mouth. But, and this is important, he's trying. Like, he is trying to do something different.
You can't deny the man's ambition.
With game,
and it's whether you...
Exactly, yeah.
Whether you click with this stuff or not, at least it's somebody trying something different. As to whether that's your kind of thing or not, I don't know. But I've heard as many people say they despise his games as people that say that they really love them, and there seems to be no middle ground.
There isn't. You either love or you hate. He's a Marmite man. I don't know. Is it still Marmite in France? Oh, let's be fair as well. His name's not David. It's David Cage.
Continue.
They introduced him as David Cage.
Continue.
Yeah. I want to see it actually playing. Like, it's probably going to play like Heavy Rain and Beyond. It's going to be walk around, do some things, talk to stuff. You know, like
maybe he's
brilliant.
taken a few.
Like, from what I've gathered of Until Dawn, right? Here's what annoys me, right? From what I've gathered of Until Dawn looks like it controls in exactly the same way. You walk around and you rub yourself on stuff, but that's okay because David Cage didn't make it.
I think you're off kilter with that. From what I understand,
Am I wrong
with
on
Until
that?
Dawn, people have said that it's like a David Cage game with all of the shit stuff taken out and all of the things that are good working even better. So
oh, okay. Well, like I said, I haven't played it yet, so I might be wrong. I'm just going by what I've seen, but okay, I'm happy to be wrong on that one. But like I say, David Cage, like, sure, he's not making, you know, his game's very divisive, but it's better than fucking Cliff Bleszinski making. What are you making next, Cliff Bleszinski? I'm making a game where you shoot the gun. Good for you, Dave. Good for you, Cliff Bleszinski. Fucking Randy Pitchford. What's your next game? We're going to make a game where you shoot the gun. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, good. Like, give me a weird David Cage thing over any of your standard fucking wanky shoot the gun games. Like, that's what's interesting. Like, how many of those, like, MOBA things have we watched and immediately forgotten about in the last couple of years? Like, dozens of them. Yeah. No one cares. I don't care about that. I want to see someone do something weird and something that's going to stick with me and something that's going to, you know, elicit some form of emotion. And, like, no one else is really doing what he's doing at the minute. And be that for better or worse, I know a lot of people, you know, like you say, a lot of people despise it. Gary Butterfield, for example, of Fireside Chat, despises the man. And I'm kind of, don't take this the wrong way, Gary, but I don't want to talk to you about him because I know we're going to argue.
Gary's a good lad.
I know we'll argue.
He was just being a little silly, a little teasing with you.
Yeah, totally. But like it, I think people think the way they do about him and his games for the same reasons. You know, like for the people think, oh yeah, he's making it. It's kind of like a movie. Brilliant. You get another person go, it's like a movie. Crap. Like. They love and hate his games for what appear to be the same reasons.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And mate, it's just, again, it's your apples and oranges. It really is.
This on how much to it, but that's purely based on a trailer that pushes my buttons. I want to see it. So.
And based off the goodwill that the Kara short did, because I came away from that just like broke. Like that was heart wrenching. That Kara trailer from a couple of E3s ago.
Can we say that Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls are getting PS4 remasters as well?
Yeah. So what? That one person on live with PlayStation who has been playing Beyond Two Souls on his PS3 with the PlayStation 4 camera looking at it for what appears to be the last 6 months can finally stream it properly.
Both are due out.
Fucking hell.
I don't know if they're...
they're doing it for him, aren't they?
I don't know... I don't know sort of quite how they've been adapted rather than resolution, or if there's extra stuff that's been put in there, or a few things have changed or whatever. But it's interesting to see those come into the new consoles, I think.
HD remasters of the new backwards compatibility, maybe. I don't know. But that was it. That was the last one.
So what did you make of it?
Sony. I thought it was a good show. In general, took the show. Good show. Not the best one I've ever seen. But good show. Lots of it just focused on games. Like here's a game, here's a game.
That's all
we've
ever asked. Like, and I think that the fun thing about this gen now is that while Sony have got this unassailable lead, Microsoft have got this hunger to win back the trust of a fan base. Microsoft are really concentrating on games. Sony are really concentrating on games. There's a wonderful sort of competitiveness between the two of them that's based on creativity. I noticed that there was the thing that went up last week about the PS4 questionnaire, which involved, amongst other things, being asked if you wanted to change your PSN name and whether you're interested in backwards compatibility, which is fabulous. I like seeing this back and forth and the two companies trying to outdo one another with the cool stuff. It just makes me more excited about games in themselves. And, you know, coming from the Microsoft side of our partnership, it's up to Microsoft now to top that. And I hope they do. And I hope that then Sony come back after that and top it. This is what I want to see. And I just find it all incredibly, incredibly exciting. So, woo.
Because there's so much weird shit coming.
Yeah,
like, there's so much coming
delicious.
at the minute.
There's more stuff than we can ever play.
For every game you look at, you think, meh. Exactly. Like, and that's getting over the games that we're already, you know, we can't get away from. Like, amazing. Like, the variety of stuff we're getting out of this as well. Like, you know, you're getting weird games about doing a wheelie on a bear.
Are you? Oh, sorry, I thought
on
you
a
said a wee-wee on a bear.
You can have a wheelie on a bear. It's part of nature. It's called wild, you know.
Right.
Does a man pee on a bear in the woods? I don't know.
This podcast, right? So,
Halo
Halo 5, I have. It was officially released Tuesday, although the copy that I bought arrived on Saturday. Thank you, sexy online retailers. The service for the game didn't go up until Tuesday, which is kind of understandable, but that stopped the campaign being played as well. Like when I tried to play it, it says like the DLC could not be validated. And I looked on the net, and there was a workaround being to unplug the Xbox from the interweb, basically.
Right.
As a Halo nerd, both of the games and books, my expectations were high, and for the most part, I'd say they've been met. Story-wise, it's a team of Oni, which are the government Spartans being sent after the Master Chief, who's gone rogue. The government team is made up of Spartan Locke, who was seen in the Halo Nightfall live-action miniseries, Edward Buck, played by Nathan Fillion from ODST, Olympia Vale, who's from the Hunters of the Dark novel, and Holly Tanaka, who's from the Halo Escalation comic book. Chief, meanwhile, surrounds himself with three of his childhood friends from the Spartan program, Linda, Fred, and Kelly, as seen in the Fall of Reach and Battle of Onyx novels by Eric Nyland, both of which are fab. The game itself, the guns are the best they've ever been in the series. There's iron sights in there. I think it might be the first time iron sights have been in. And they work well. The guns sound good. They feel accurate. And have made a fair few improvements over all of the previous games in that regard. In particular, the Covenant and Promethean weapons are really fun to use this time, rather than not being as good as the other ones. The game has massive, and I do mean massive levels, not particularly in length, but in breadth and scope. There are these massive open playing spaces, whether it be a space station, a mine, the surfaces of a planet, but it feels like you're in the middle of a war, and it's not just sort of funneling you down corridors or the equivalent of seeming like they've come up with a bunch of multiplayer play sets and sort of stapled them together as a campaign bit. That's not the case.
I love when you get that in a game and you walk through and this is going to be
very much. Halo 4 had a bit too much of that, to be honest. So yeah,
there's this weird blue flag here. I don't know why that's
so yeah, in the game you play as both of the teams, the two different teams, uncovering two sides of the story. For those that are immersed in the lore and the books and stuff, they may well have as much resonance with the Spartan Locke, Edward Buck, Tanaka Vale side of things, whereas for everyone else, they may only have the connection to Nathan Fillion's book, who appeared in ODST. For those people, it may well seem like a mistake, similar to that scene in Halo 2, where only half of the game was spent as the Master Chief, the other was the Arbiter, who led the Covenant against the Chief in the original Halo. As someone that's devoured a chunk of the books, not all of them, I've got a connection to Chief and Blue Team, and those were the levels that I enjoyed and connected with most at first. yeah, I soon kind of forgot myself and got lost in the gameplay, which, might add, is very, very good. I'm playing on Heroic, which is one notch up from normal, one down from like the hardest difficulty, Legendary. The game feels most like Halo Reach, where you were part of a squad, and in Reach, your compatriot for the mission didn't die as part of the mission. They just kind of took damage and got out of it, and as such, that did ruin the immersion a little bit. Here, the other members of the team do take damage, like yourself, and when they do, their armor goes into lockdown. They kind of they kneel and sort of put a hand on the floor, and this little timer starts ticking down around them, where it's like, I need help, and you run up to them and you press X, and this sort of beam comes out of sort of your arm, and you basically unlock their armor and they get up again. So if you don't do that, you've lost them until at least like the next save point or the next bit. So your four-man team can dwindle down quite easily if you're not thinking about it. Managing this means not really being able to run off in a fight and leave them to it, as you may be needed to jump in and pull somebody back into the fray, which adds a little something to it, a little spice to it. Plus, there's this limited mechanic where you can move the squad to certain places on the map or highlight a particular enemy to concentrate on just purely by pressing up on the D-pad. In certain instances, this has enabled me to bring on a wave of enemies, like advance the rest of the team forward, bring on a wave of enemies and sort of sneak off to the side as the main group fights them, and to then draw the bulk and push my team back. There's a really wonderful simplicity to it, and the deeper I've gotten into the game, the more I've come to appreciate just the complexity and the simplicity sort of all in one. It's really cool. Story itself appears to be the weakest part. It jumps around a bit. Yeah.
I've heard that. I've seen that online quite a bit.
It jumps around a fair bit, and it seems a little simple thus far, particularly given that 343 Industries took over, making the games from Bungie with Halo 4. 343 Industries managed the novels, and Halo 4 really leaned into that massively. Like in Halo 4, there was a bit where there was a character called the Didact that turned up, and if you play in the game, you were like, "Who's this bloke?" Oh, it's an enemy that's turned up. It's a boss. If you'd read the books, you were like, "Oh my god, it's him!" And there's a great conversation on the Halo 4 Ken and Rinse as to whether this sort of stuff should be in the games, or as to whether it's fine being in satellite stuff like the novels, and a really, really interesting sort of debate between the folks on there. But yeah, so maybe Halo 5 story is a conscious decision to simplify things a little bit, but I don't think it quite comes off. And much of the dialogue is really badly written. But yeah, the game's a real treat to play. I've been losing myself in it like more and more as I've gone along. That squad mechanic I mentioned allows 3 other players to replace the game AI. So if you've got other people that want to play alongside with you, they can replace like Glinda, Fred and Kelly and Bookvale Tanaka in like the different missions. So that's pretty neat. And each of those has different loadouts as well. So rather, in the previous games, if somebody was co-oping with you, you both be the Master Chief, essentially. And when it would have your split screens or your individual screens wherever you were, but the cutscene would just feature one person. And so in this way, you're still seeing like the cutscenes with the other characters, but if other people are playing with you, they're playing those characters, which is kind of neat. I like that a lot. But yeah, that's I'm looking forward to having a pop at Legendary with the likes of Carl and Tony from Came Rinse. I know Gav Russell's picked it up, and I know this is something that we had a bit of a chat about recently, but you know how we did that Metal Gear Solid show where I played ignorant, enthusiastic Master of Ceremonies with a secret. I'd like to do a Halo ep maybe with like Carl and Tony in similar style. Would you be up for that, sir?
Okay.
Yeah.
I could do that. I'll tell you now, ain't going to be no secrets.
Well, I understand that, but I don't know. I really enjoyed doing that Metal Gear Solid one and sort of priming you guys with questions from an unknown standpoint, because I still wasn't that deep into MGS5 at that point. So yeah, sweet. So
because my Halo knowledge is nothing. Like Master Chief is the guy with the green, right? Yeah, but
without falling into kind of,
I know enough of the games.
Without falling into cheekiness, you can appreciate sort of questions of games and favourite stuff, and your love of books and Metal Gear Solid lore, and I just think it'd be, because I enjoyed that Metal Gear Solid show so much. I really did enjoy not just making it and being sort of master of ceremonies, but listening back to it. And hearing you and Chris really enthuse it. I wondered if kind of the other side would intrigue and if it'd be something you'd be up for. Yeah,
I think so. As the Dungeon Master.
So yeah, I jumped into, there was a few Halo documentaries that went up online as well. Each of those were half an hour long. The first had Nathan Fillion and the writing production team. The second was starring a bunch of the voice actors. They got Steve Downes, who plays Master Chief, Laura Bailey, who plays Olympia Vale, Travis Willingham, who plays Fred, Darren O'Hare, who's Commander Lasky, and Ike Imadi, who plays Spartan Locke. Imadi's tale was an interesting one because he stepped into the shoes and visual of Mike Colter, who partway through production was offered the role of Luke Cage in Netflix and Marvel's Jessica Jones TV show. And 343, rather than hold him to contract, let him follow the opportunity of a lifetime, which is a really classy move, I reckon.
Yeah, you told me that last
time.
So
also, Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham are husband and wife, and an utter joy to see interact with one another. There's this really quirky, smiley, sort of, they're clearly incredibly smitten with each other, and yet it doesn't come across as like sickly. It's just, they just really enjoy being around one another, and really... It was really sweet to see. So, and finally, I got the new Xbox UI.
Okay, right. So how is it?
I'm in the preview program, and was offered the chance to join in with this a little while ago, but resisted given the amount of stuff that wasn't working early on, because obviously it's a new UI and they have to test as to whether, from going to there, that breaks it. Doing this and doing that. And they had like a massive list of stuff which wasn't at the top of this, it wasn't at the bottom of this document, it was near the top. It was like, this doesn't work. And it was like Xbox Fitness, Assassin's Creed Unity, Skylanders. There was, they were honest about the things that were there, and the fact that, they don't know the intricacies of this until people report them, and the teams can crack into them and solve those bugs, and essentially, it was a mass product testing.
Well, let's be fair. All those games you just listed, I think.
Yeah, and so I mean, Xbox Fitness has become really important to me. So I thought, I'll kind of wait this one out a bit. I woke up on Monday night and the update was ready. It was just waiting for me on screen to say yes to. So I dived on in. Early impressions were not favourable. It seemed incredibly cluttered. Finding things was difficult, and it didn't seem all that faster, to be honest. I was under the impressions that things were going to be simplified, and that definitely didn't seem to be the case. Stuff just seemed swamped with suggestions for other things to get, and I couldn't find the things I wanted. It was also 3 a.m, and I was more grumpy than I realised. Also on Twitter. So, I wasn't particularly fussed and was quite vocal about that.
They were definitely grumble tweets.
Yeah. So second boot up, and my opinion changed. In the first instance, things seemed faster, much, much faster. Jumping into a game took much less time to sort of boot up and load. And even when I powered down and then back up again, Halo 5 was still sat where I'd left it. Like, immediately. Which was, it wasn't a case of you've turned off your system, the game has to boot back up and then can go to. It was just there. Jumping out of it and then going into YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, it was still there like that. Initially, I couldn't find my stuff, and it was later I realised how important my pins are. Now TV had this frustrating feature, which has now changed, where rather than saving the movies you want to watch in an in-app list, sort of, the My List or whatever you wanted to call it, like Netflix has, the movies were individually saved to my Xbox desktop in my pins, which is ridiculous. Yeah.
What?
It is
That's
really
stupid.
Which meant like I couldn't see my games and apps and all the important stuff I'd.
How does that work on TV shows? Does that do each one individual, or is it a season?
If you were doing that on Now TV, I presume it would save each show off. But still, it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
I mean that Now TV app is just so badly designed anyway. But at least they've allegedly cleared that up now. You have got lists in there. So yeah, I cleared out all of that shit. And so you've got the main screen, and then if you press down on the D-pad, there are like little boxes with the 4 things that you did last, and then the 5th one underneath that is like this massive box of all of your pins, so all the things that you want close to the desktop, and the top one of those in the corner is my games and apps, so I can just jump into there, even if like the individual games I haven't pinned to that bit. So it's nice. I got used to it and have warmed to it since quite a bit. It launches officially on November the 12th, which will include backwards compatibility and access to over 100 titles, which it's been suggested includes the likes of the Dead Space games, Halo Reach and Dark Souls. They've gone on to say as well today that if you own the DLC and you go into Manage My Games, you will automatically download the DLC, which is pretty shit on. I like that a lot. So it was announced this week that Burnout Paradise will be available for backwards compatibility. And while it's the Burnout game I didn't click with, the chance to have a Burnout game on new gen and just a click away is a bit of a thrill, frankly. And on that front, I started thinking about the sort of 360 games that I own that I'd like to have digitally on backwards compatibility. Just kind of sat there on my hard drive for whenever I fancy playing them. I mean, Dark Souls, for example, being a great one, just to rather than installing the disc and then whenever I want to play Dark Souls, putting the disc in and it playing, just to know that you still got the disc. I quite like Dark Souls just to be able to like chuck straight in. And I know that many software companies are bundling the previous 360 games in with pre-orders and orders for the new games. So Just Cause 3 comes with Just Cause 2, Fallout 4 on Xbox One comes with Fallout 3 backwards compatible. A couple of the Rainbow Six games are in with the new one. And I wonder how much of a push those older games will be with folks buying digitally like I do. And if they've got any sense about them, as soon as those 100 games or 100 or so games are available for backwards compatibility, put them all in a fucking huge sale on Xbox Live.
Yep.
That'll be amazing. Because they've said that the games that are on Games with Gold in November, all of them are going to be playable on backwards compatibility as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so
cool.
So yeah, I've always thought along the lines of backwards compatibility being more affordable pre-owned games or the stuff that people already own. But it'd be interesting to see how many folks just go, yeah, I've got that I've got that on my shelf, but I'll pay $3.95 or £6 to just have that sitting on my hard drive. So yeah, I'm curious.
Well, anything's got to be better than PlayStation Now pricing, isn't it?
We're seeing on the other side of that PlayStation are now understanding how important backwards compatibility is to people, and the fact that that's now in that questionnaire, I think, is a really good sign that they're trying to do it. So
yeah. So you can get Tokyo Jungle working on the PS4, then that's been done forever.
But I think that's great. I really think that's great. And if I mentioned it earlier that if something like Dragon's Dogma is there that I can play whenever I want to, even in the light of rumours of the PC version being transferred over and stuff. Yay, verily, that's not a problem for me at all. So, and even if the pre-orders of Fallout 4 digitally, they are coming with digital Fallout 3. If they let people have that a little bit early, that's kind of cool to have on the hard drive. And especially at no extra pence, sir.
Oh, that's a dangerous thing to do. Imagine dropping that 2 weeks before. I'll just play Fallout 3 again quick, and then you're in there for 3 months before you get to Fallout 4. I think it'd be
kind of a nice little sweetener, I reckon. But yeah, at least to get you in the mood. Little bit of foreplay. We have been recording for 2 hours and 40 minutes, sir. We should let people get on with their lives.
We should. We've covered a lot of ground, though. We have. We've covered all the PlayStation week and what you've played and what I've played and
we haven't
stuff.
We've done well for a while, though. Yeah.
Nah. Not on camera, anyway.
Camera? Right. People know where to
it?
find us. We love you very much. Send us your thoughts. We've got more Twin Humanities coming soon with all the Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and we'll play a bit of Scholar in the next few days, I think. We'll then have the Humanities after that with undoubtedly other stuff we've been playing, and I will do a full rundown of the amazing Game City from Nottingham, which I am midway through and loving.
Cool. I have also made plans for what we're going to do in the next show, but I'm not going to tell you them because then it looks like I'm planning.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.